Hey, everybody, before we get started with the show, we want to suggest to you, maybe you want to see the show live. Live small town murders coming all over the country. That is gross, but it's happening. Absolutely, guys. Get out. L.A. on the 5th. Then we go to San Diego, Sacramento, San Francisco, Portland, Seattle, Philly, Chicago, New York, and Nashville to close it out. There are some sold-out shows. Portland is sold out. Seattle, first show is sold out. There's a second show there. Philadelphia, first show sold out. Second show added, though. Chicago, New York, those are getting sold out very quickly. And we will not be adding as second shows because they're big venues. So get those tickets right now at shutupandgivememurder.com/live. Come see us at a live show, everybody. We promise it's so much fun.
Can't wait to see you.
Come out, tell us to shut up and give you murder. This week, we look at the depressing town of Mooresville, Missouri, where things, places, and especially murderers are never quite what they seem. Welcome to Small Town Murder. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Small Town Murder.
Yay!
Oh, yay indeed, Jimmy. Yay indeed. I'm so excited this week. This is a crazy episode.
Fantastic.
This is a twisted, wild... This is one where you're just like, I don't know what just happened. This is insanity. How is this a story? This isn't real. And it is real, and it's crazy. Thank you guys for everything this week. iTunes reviews have been huge. Thank you. If you have not done that yet, please get on iTunes.
What are you waiting for?
Yeah, get on there. Give us 5 stars. Doesn't matter what you say. We're not in this for the ego. It's just, that's business. iTunes, that's how their charts work. They need reviews. You have to feed their funky algorithm.
You do.
That's life. You know, it's not nothing we can do about it. No. So thank you for doing that. And get on it if you have not done that yet. Live shows this weekend. Shit. Well, Portland tomorrow, if you're listening on Thursday. Portland, the 20th of April is sold out. There's tickets on StubHub. I saw. That's pretty hilarious to us.
Don't ask me now.
2 years ago, we couldn't get anybody to come for free to anything we did, and now there's
couldn't
tickets
sell
on StubHub.
2 tickets with a BOGO.
So this is pretty hilarious.
Right.
Seattle is also first show is sold out. Right. Second show, still some tickets left for the late show. So come out. The late show's fun anyway. We're gonna get weird on the late show and have a crazy weird case.
I'll be shithouse.
Do that, he will. You can get tickets to all of these things at shutupandgivememurder.com.
That's the one.
You can also find links there to donate if you want to do that. If you want to be one of our producers, one of our amazing superstar, incredible people that we're going to talk about a little later on, you can do that by going there or going to patreon.com/crimeinsports.
That's the one.
Or you can make a one-time donation over at PayPal using our email address, crimeinsports@gmail.com. Now, at this point, we obviously have to do the disclaimer.
Clearly.
Isn't it depressing?
It's fucking
every
terrible.
time. But you know what? We're going to make it. We have fun with it. What are you going to do? This is a comedy podcast.
It is.
This is all the facts are real. Yeah. Like I said, this story sounds so crazy you'd think it's made up, but it's not. It's all real.
For sure.
Everything is real. We don't make anything up for comedic effect or any, garbage like that.
Right.
We do make jokes.
We do.
We're comedians.
We are.
Usually at the expense of towns or idiots or murderers or bumbling police forces or something like that's it. That's what it is. But we do go out of our way to make sure that we do not try not to make fun of the victims or the victims' families.
Right.
We're assholes.
But we're not scumbags.
We're not scumbags.
Right.
Exactly. So it is what it is. So that's good. But if you're on board now, we're in the car. You're in the car with us. We're on the way to rob a liquor store. Yeah. Are you in the car? Then you're in the car. Yeah. Sorry. And if one of us accidentally blows the little Korean lady's brains all over the Marlboros behind the counter.
You're an accomplice.
You're an accomplice at this point, so no complaining. No complaining. You're in. You're
and don't
in the car.
snitch, goddammit.
That's right, goddammit. Keep that shit to yourself. So without further ado, let's get to this. Let's go on a trip, Jimmy.
All right.
You ready to rock and roll?
Oh, my God. We've been on the road so much. I'm not even unpacking. We're leaving it all packed.
It's all packed. Yeah. That's it. Just dirty clothes in there, on to the next city. Jimmy's smelling like Sacramento when he's in Seattle. It's just going to happen like that. Great show in Sacramento, by the way.
Like tequila and Corona. Those bastards.
What a great goddamn show.
Fantastic.
Those people. They were fantastic. They were phenomenal.
Pushing booze on me.
We cannot. Yes, they gave Jimmy lots of booze.
It was great.
That got ugly, but no, it was ugly in a funny way. We had a good time. We have good time. These live shows are so much fun. So please come out and check them out for the shows that have tickets left.
The people are incredible.
At this point, we have to head we have to head on a trip.
Yeah.
Let's go. We're going all the way to Missouri.
Great.
Exciting, right?
Yeah.
Your favorite state, right?
Show me.
I know you've told me multiple times that your favorite state is Missouri.
One of these
you've
days
said
I'll retire there.
Sure. Whose dream is that not? We're going to Mooresville, Missouri.
Great.
Oh, it's great. All right. The joy you would get from going to Mooresville.
Yeah, give me more.
This is a party town. Okay. This is a town, I would say maybe it's the next big hot spring break town, something like that. Yeah. No, that's not true at all.
It's not Missouri's Lake Havasu?
It is absolutely not Missouri's Lake anything. It is if Missouri had a compost heap out in back of their yard, like behind a shed, this would be the thing under the compost heap, not the actual compost heap. There's value in that.
This is the soot in the garbage fire?
Yeah. There's value in the actual compost, whereas here there's no value for anything. Mooresville, Missouri, it's in north central Missouri. Mm-hmm. It's almost 4 hours to St. Louis.
Jesus.
So no help there if you need to escape. Yeah. About an hour and 15 minutes to Kansas City.
Okay.
So it's in the middle of goddamn nowhere. Yeah. I would say, without a doubt. It's in Livingston County, which is exciting as it gets. Zip code 64664, area code 660. There's a shitload of sixes in there. A lot of sixes.
That's dangerous.
It's a tiny town.
Okay.
Very, very Miranda Barber should have moved here.
All right.
I don't know what happened. She picked the wrong town. She got away with everything here.
Yeah. This is her jam.
This is her jam. It's a tiny town, 0.18 square miles for this town. So that's a small one.
That's
That's a really tiny town.
I've pissed bigger puddles than that, I think.
1.8 square or 0.18 square miles. That's so
nothing.
Small. Yeah, that's a couple of blocks, it seems like, in a city. Town motto, it's very, again, they know how to market this place. They see it. They're like, this is... We can get people to come here, and we'll find out how many people they've got to come here. Very impressive amount. You'll see here. Town motto, quote, you ever actually watch grass grow? It's not that bad. So that's a pitch. That's obviously mine.
Right.
There is no town motto. Okay. There's not enough people to pitch in to pay a firm to come up with one, and they don't have the wherewithal to just have a meeting and go, shouldn't we have something people should know something about us just from, I don't know, just say Mooresville, it's pretty nice.
We got more here in Mooresville.
You can get more in Mooresville.
There's so many more puns we could do.
Is it more in Mooresville?
There's more in here.
There's more. We could do something with the more. We could.
But at 0.18 square miles, we could use some more here in Mooresville.
We're better than Dinty Moore. Even better.
Barely.
Dinty Moore. Oh, shit. That's where we're from. Oh, damn. I didn't know that's where Dinty Moore's from. All right. Never mind. We don't want to bash the Dinty Moore Corporation at this moment in time. They're employing most of the town. So this is a town that does nothing but make Dinty Moore beef stew.
Get to chopping up the carrots.
By the way, quick crime and sports side note.
Unbelievable.
There's a boxer who we said his name is Grady Brewer, and we said he sounded like his nickname should be Dinty Moore or beef stew. And we said he sounded like a hobo that fights down at the train yard for other hobos' bindles.
Right.
And so people went and changed this poor man's Wikipedia page.
If you look at his Wikipedia page, it's covered with Dinty Moore references.
Dinty Moore references and bindle references and train yards and hobos.
Hilarious.
It's pretty funny. So we love you guys. You're absolutely insane. Thank you for being that insane. But this town here, this town doesn't even have a website. Nothing. It's got a county website. Livingston County does, but it's from like the late 90s. Perfect. This thing. It's clearly not like a modern website.
It's not even a GoDaddy.
No, I feel like some like 60-year-old, one of the whoever town assembly people or county assembly people who's like 63 years old did like a quick like a Saturday afternoon tutorial on how to build websites. Not even using like Squarespace or like something like that. Just some weird template that's like some government bureaucratic template you can use.
Is it a MySpace template? Is that what it is?
It's kind of similar, yeah. Black background with red writing. It's real small and you can't see it. And you're like, Jesus Christ, get your shit together, dude. Right. Pick better colors. Sorry if you're too young to remember MySpace, but it was terrible, and we're happy it's dead.
We all had to We all had to learn how to code. That's what it was. It was
the stupidest.
It was like the beginning of coding. It was fucking terrible.
It sucked, and somehow we all got sucked into it. I wasn't a big MySpace person.
I did it. I did it a lot.
I wasn't really into it. It was too...
I had a photo bucket and all that shit.
Oh, for Christ's sake. So history here. State of Missouri came into statedom in 1821. So they're not one of the originals, but they're next tier.
They're right in there.
They weren't like a late round draft pick. They came in later on. They came in pretty early on here. Livingston County was formed in 1837 from parts of Carroll County. Named the Livingston County is named after the Honorable Edward Livingston.
So honorable.
Oh, he's so honorable. He's the 11th Secretary of State of the United States.
Oh.
Under which president, you might ask?
Yes, I would.
Andrew Jackson, sir.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's Andrew Jackson.
Shit, yeah.
You know it. So yes. So
this town is super dangerous.
This town is dangerous. Jimmy's very excited. He's like,
my guy.
My cabinet man here. Jimmy actually does not like Andrew Jackson. If you're a new listener, once in a while, Jimmy has a slip of the tongue.
Right.
Usually, some reason racially. I don't know why. It's always accidental.
I swear it's accidental.
And it's never what he means, too. That's the other thing.
That's what it is.
He means something completely different and says something that sounds terrible, and that's an Andrew Jackson moment if you're new to this. Now,
ridiculous.
It's hilarious. The people in this town. I love the website here. The county website's hilarious because it describes. I love the county websites always because they tell you the history they want you to know. Always, it's not like real history. It's not like a historian saying this town was famous for its black people lynching. Right. If you wanted to lynch a black person, this was the town you took them to. They'd take you right in. They had the hanging tree right there, ready to go. Like that. They'd never tell you that in a county website. Right. They tell you like good things, and even if it's bad, they try to wrap it in a good way. Like on their county website here, it says the early settlers had in common to a large degree certain desirable characteristics.
Certain.
Which ones do you think they are? I'm going to go with white first.
Christian.
Well, they say their faith. They had their faith in God to see them through and to provide for their needs, and faith in themselves to deal with any circumstances. That sounds like horseshit.
That sounds like they could sit on a couch and shit just was provided for them.
That sounds like it was a terrible place to live, but somehow people got by, even though most of their kids died before they were 3.
Right.
They still made it through, and they credit God with the rest of their kids dying.
Terrible thing to credit to.
It's very strange here. They said had they been otherwise, it says here, I love this too, they had the courage to leave familiar surroundings and loved ones, ability to make a living from the land. They were good neighbors, honest, straightforward, and men of their word. Had they been otherwise, they would not have been welcome in the community. So they're really trying to build themselves up as some kind of weird
hard-working white people.
Hard scrabble, hard-working white. Yeah, it's a really weird.
Had they been anything other than white, they wouldn't have been welcome in this town.
No, they had to be. They said faith in God and all that. White faith in God. There's a list.
Hard working. We don't want them lazy ones.
Wink, wink, wank, wank. See me wanking?
Right.
Oh wait, no, it's 1822. We don't have to wink.
Right.
And he's just spouting racial slurs.
Lazy shit.
So these people came there, and it's basically like, this place is hard, but you should be proud if you can make it here. You don't have to. You can just go somewhere else that's better. That's what I don't get, why people do that. Like
being proud of where they're from.
Well, not being proud of where they're from, but they're like, people go somewhere shitty, and they're like, it's terrible, but we can make do. Why? Just go somewhere better. There's lots of places better. It's hard scrabble here. It's tough to get by. Well, it's not tough everywhere.
Right.
Go somewhere else.
Well, we got three wagon wheels, so this is our spot.
I don't mean now. It's harder now, but back then they threw shit in a wagon and they went. You went there. You went to Missouri to begin with. You have a wagon packed clearly. Go, this place is a shithole, and keep going. Did you ever play the Oregon Trail? Did you stop in Missouri and go, this is good enough? No, you went to the goddamn ocean.
You keep going to where the gold is.
Get out there, you lazy fuck. See, they should have never been allowed there to begin with. Mooresville, they platted it out, which is a stupid term for making streets. Platted means you planned a town and put streets down and shit. Like said, hey, we're going to make a map, and this is where shit goes, and plots of land and things. W.B. Moore did that. The guy who platted it out, they were like, fuck it, just name it for him.
That's our guy.
At least they didn't name it after a bewigged douchebag from times past that no one in this town has ever met before.
For Verizon, there's not a Jackson reference in it.
No, there isn't, which is odd.
But there's Jackson already probably down in Alabama or Mississippi.
There's a lot of Jacksons happens, especially in the South. So, and everywhere, really. There's one in Michigan. There's one everywhere because we have a town. We have a case there at some point that I picked out. There's like 300 cases, but that's one that I picked out where I was like, oh, yeah, Jackson. So if you live there, there's a case there where somebody killed somebody. I don't know. I'll figure it out. Right. Anyway, a post office was put there. Once there's a post office, then you got a town.
Yeah.
Then you're in business. You can mail shit.
Turn the lights on.
Turn them on, baby. 1860, they put the post office in. They must have platted that right in there as the you got to have the post office.
Shit,
Village was incorporated in 1874 and hasn't gotten any better since, pretty much. It's a dump here. The Civil War was an interesting time around these parts. Missouri was a weird place because they were kind of in between.
Were they on the fence?
They were, yes. So they were on the fence here.
Okay.
But the people weren't really on the fence. The government, it's a long story. We'll talk about it briefly and get through it here. Lincoln was calling for people, obviously, for the war at this point. Most of the people in this county were secessionists. So they're obviously Southern supporters. So there's a few... there's also some Union people there, but they were outnumbered greatly by the Southern supporters. And it's pretty funny because it's not really funny, but the Southern people, the Southern supporters, were basically trying to muscle the Unionists out of the town.
Really?
Oh, yeah. They have from a newspaper, this is dated May 6th, 1861.
Yeah.
And this is the closest they have to like Tupac telling you he's going to fuck you up in a rap. Like this is as close as they had in 1861.
This is 1861 battle rap.
This was like some hardcore fuck you. You're on. I'm putting you on notice right here. This is a death threat. Quote, sir. First of all,
that's
any
a good way.
threat that starts with "sir," I find that amusing right away. You and your friends that voted for Lincoln better go where you belong and take your property and stay there if you know when you are well. Better take refuge in Abraham's bosom. We are the boys that are for Southern rights.
Oh, my God.
So that means if you don't leave, I'm going to fucking kill you. And you're probably your whole family. I'm going to burn your house down and kill your dog also in front of you.
Everything short of N-word lover.
That's pretty much what they said. That's the most polite death threat ever.
That was pretty brutal.
You never hear anyone say, you best take refuge in this person's bosom when they're threatening you, or else I'll kill you.
That's the weirdest way of saying go with them.
Take refuge
in their
in his bosom.
Is that like go hug him? Is that what that is?
I think that's you better go somewhere where he can protect you.
Where he will care for you.
Y'all better get to New York City where he can protect you. So I think it's one of those
Get
things
up there to Illinois.
Yeah, exactly.
Boy.
So the Missouri state government was deciding whether to remain neutral or independent or secede or what the fuck they were trying to do. They were trying to figure it out. Livingston County citizens at this point, from a newspaper from back then, said that they were quote, began getting their shotguns in order.
Okay.
So they were literally going to start shooting people in the streets over this issue.
Tighten up the screws on those things.
This whole thing is getting out of control, obviously, and we had a fucking civil war, so it got really out of control.
Yeah, it got real ugly for a minute. Yeah.
It got real out of control for a few years. Let's just say, like, there was a shitload of people dead. It's a long one, years.
I think that's still the most Americans ever killed in the war. Obviously, it's both sides of the war, but I think that's still true. Yes? No? Maybe Vietnam got more.
No, Vietnam had less. Vietnam had like 55,000.
Really?
We killed, Jesus Christ, I think we lost more than that in Normandy, for Christ's sake, in
really?
World War II. We lost a fuckload in World War II.
Okay.
World War I, we lost a lot, too.
Yeah.
The Russians in World War II lost like 50 million people.
Yeah.
They didn't fuck around. They were shoveling people in like it was a fire.
The
with
death
coal.
machine. Just
Jesus,
throw them in.
Horrible shit that has nothing to do with what we're talking about. But moving on. Residents of this town, notable people, pretty much a bunch of people that look like Andrew Jackson and Livingston. It's just a bunch of old white people that were like, councilmen and assembly members for the county and
silver-haired
like
people with like horrible hairlines.
Yeah,
they somehow had like hairdos.
They look like pudgy old ladies. That's what they like. Stylish.
Good point.
Like those like society old ladies who are like they've been widowed for 20 years and they're like out. They do like a lot of art gallery openings and they have like funky hair and they wear weird jewelry and shit, but they're like wealthy and that's what I feel like.
Bushy behind the ears. Yeah, that's a weird look.
That's what they look like.
It's a very strange look.
They were considered the
Like, why do you grow that? Don't grow that.
I have no idea what
bushy behind the ears is never a good look.
It really isn't for anybody. I got to agree with you there.
Whether you've got long hair up top or you've got a terrible hairline like these old men had, just bushy behind the ears, fucking stop it.
Well, yeah, don't do that.
No.
Well, they don't. They haven't done it in 200 years. So, all right. Thank you for listening. I guess we can't rail at something that we've long...
that doesn't happen anymore.
We've long ceased doing that practice. So it's real. It's like they're whaling. Can you believe that?
Can you believe they're clubbing the seals
off the coast of Maine? It's like, no, they're not. They're not. Man, that's not happening anymore. Japan, they still do. Right. Never mind.
Sure.
Moving on. Right. So now we want to talk about Japan. Clearly, we brought in World War II. Talking about whaling. We got a lot of Japan on our minds today. Other resident of this town, Shirley Collie Nelson, who was born in 1931. She's born as Shirley Angelina Simpson. She's a country music singer. I love how they describe her. Country music singer, rockabilly singer, yodeler, guitarist, and songwriter.
I was on board right up until yodeler.
Yeah, well, I think back then any of the hillbilly arts had to include yodeling.
So weird.
You know, like Dolly Parton used to yodel.
Did she?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
You ever seen Rhinestone?
Yeah, I guess you had a point.
She fucking yodels her ass off in that movie.
And she won't apologize for that piece of shit.
No, she won't. Well, you know what?
She's still proud.
She shouldn't fucking apologize. Sylvester Stallone should apologize, especially to Dolly, who had to put up with his fucking stupid marble-mouthed ass for that long. And she had after he sang his songs terribly, she had to go, "That was good, darling.
Great job.
You did great job." And then she went home and cut herself where you couldn't see it. Or she just went and got more tattoos where they couldn't.
Where you can't see them.
Cover my titties. I can't take it no more. Have you heard Stallone
Make
sing?
my nipples flowers.
No.
I hope she did that. I really hope she did that.
You'll never find out either, I bet. So this woman here she was kind of famous on her own as an act, but also from 1963 to 1971, she was the second wife of Willie Nelson.
Oh.
So she got very famous from that. That's why she's Shirley Collie Nelson.
Got it.
Willie Nelson here. This town historically, it peaked in population in 1910. So anytime a town peaks in 1910 in population and then just withers away over the next century,
not positive.
That's a bad sign. That's if it's like a 10-year period where you have a net loss of people, that's one thing. But for 100 years, when people consistently say "fuck this place," it's not a good town.
And you're peaking 30 years after establishment,
pretty much,
and it's starting to already dwindle. It's not a positive thing.
And it peaked right before cars became prominent, so people could leave more easily. Because like 1920, that's kind of mid-1910s, regular people started getting cars and they could get the fuck out of there. Because we see that a lot in towns. That's kind of the breaking point, whether it's people are staying there because they want to or because they were stuck there. And the car thing, they're like, oh, see ya.
Yeah.
I mean, we're out of here. From 1920 to 1930, they went from 193 people to 137 people.
Wow.
So that's people got cars and they were like, we're all packed. Cars gassed up. We don't have to stay in this shithole. See ya.
That's like 20% of the population just gone.
It is. And so if you're from here, we're sorry we keep bashing it, but
I don't know how.
You should leave. I'm sorry. The odds that anyone's listening who are from here are very slim because the population of this town is 88 people.
Wow.
88 people.
How is that even a town?
It's barely a town.
That's crazy.
I mean. It's down 12% since 1990 where they had a cool 100.
It was all even.
Even 100. And so it's basically, if you look at it this way, it's basically the population of the Duggar family is this town. It's just 88 white people, which is the whole
That's like a small enough amount to have like hash marks on the population side.
Oh yeah.
On the sign and like chalk. And then every time somebody dies,
an old man in overalls,
he
and
just
one
walks
of those,
out there and licks his thumb and scratches one off.
One of those red plaid flappy eared hats comes out and just licks and goes, all right now. Gets a step stool, slowly climbs up.
Josephine died.
She died, and then her kids took her belongings and left as fast as they could. They were just waiting on that.
They financed a car with all her shit.
So let me write down a scratch and a slash. There we go. All set. 88. All right now.
Perfect.
So by the way, I said this before, but I do believe we should be able to legally hunt the Duggars. I think that's a thing that we should do. There's too fucking many of them.
They're like deer.
There's too many of them. They're just going to spread disease among themselves. Not just willy-nilly in the streets like psychopaths. I think there should be Duggar permits and you should be able to hunt them in the streets.
When's Duggar season?
When's Duggar season? Exactly. I think that'd be a good thing.
Probably around Halloween. Pick off the young sick ones.
I think so.
As they run down the
we should get the old ones first because they're the ones reproducing.
Well, I don't
That's
know.
the thing. Anybody reproductive age, we should take them out first, and then we can retrain the younger ones not to have 45 fucking children. Jesus Christ. So median age in this town is 41.4, which is about 4 years older than the average, because this is a place where you die, not a place where you live. This is a terrible place to put it, but a terrible way to put it. But this isn't a place where like you graduate college and then you're like, all right, going to start a life in this little town of Mooresville that I heard about.
88 people.
With 88 people, going to find me somebody to settle down with, get a nice house. Like that doesn't really happen. The female and male population is way out of whack. It's about 61% female, but these small towns, it's such a
everything's fucked.
It's all fucked. There's it's not a big enough sample size to even make whatever. You can tell how many people it is almost exactly. There's only 31 households in the whole town. So that tells you a lot right there.
That's so weird.
31 households. That's so weird. 22 family households, whatever that means. The widowed rate here is 19%, and it's normally about 6%. So these are old people that are waiting to die.
Got it.
Basically. Race of this town, shockingly, 100% white. It is the Duggar family.
It's the only time that's ever happened on this show so far.
100. 100%.
Nothing
white.
else.
Nothing else. So that'll give you a hint right there. Normally, it's about 63% white in the country. It is 100% white here, excessively white, I would say, if that's even a thing.
It's cotton balls.
So
it's pretty impressive.
It's a Duggar family portrait
for sure.
So, religion in this town, it's about 73% religious, which small town in Missouri, sure, why not? About 7% Catholic, 2.62% LDS.
Oh,
so there's like 3 people who are LDS. Is a family of 3, but don't worry, there'll be more.
You bet. They're coming.
They're going to find more.
There's going to be a shitload.
They're going to make more, and then they're going to recruit more too. So there's going to be. It's going to be when they send somewhere that's hopeless. They're going to. They go right to it. They're going to go to it, and they're going to say, we're going to get, that's where you get people. This town is the most depressing place ever. We can swing at least 88 people. I think we can do this. It's perfect here. 0.0% Jewish, obviously. That's not happening. Like, fuck this town.
No, thank you.
0.0% Muslim. 2, I don't know where you'd go to mosque in a place like this. 31% Democrat, about 67% Republican. Small town in Missouri. I'm not surprised by that, obviously. That seems about right. Unemployment rate is only 4%, which is about 5 people. Which it's so easy. There shouldn't be any in that. You can get together with 88 people and say, Bill, Frank, Bob, and Jim are all fucking unemployed. They're fucking up. We need to fix this shit.
They've got friends. Somebody hire them.
Who can hire him out of all the... We can get our unemployment rate to 0. You know how fucking cool that would look?
No other town's got it.
How cool that would look?
Be the first ones with 100% white and 0% unemployed.
Either that and 0%. Either that, or they're either doing that, or they're completely fucked up, and they can just go the other way and say, Bill, Bob, Frank, and Jim are lazy fucks. Get them out of our town.
There you go.
And then they're like, well, we can't, though. We need the numbers. So we got to
put us down to 84.
We got to fix them, basically. We got to fix them. They're like a team that made a bad first-round draft pick, and they're like, well, we can't do it. We're going to lose him. He's got the contract. We got to pay him anyway. We have to work with him.
We told everybody we loved him.
We have to work with him. There's no other option here. It's fucking terrible. The income here is household income median is $43,125, which is
pretty good.
It's about $10,000 less than the average. The jobs here are mainly in the healthcare. Either retail, trade, or healthcare seem to be a lot of the jobs. So when the old people die, then what happens? When there's no one to care for, then everyone leaves, and then you get less than 88 people. Cost of living overall, 100 is par average. We say housing here, everything's about normal. The overall is 79 out of 100.
Sure,
but housing is the low one. Housing is 24.
Holy shit.
24. That is so low.
That's
cheap
the lowest we've had.
That's insane.
My goodness. This is a fucking landmark episode.
It's a landmark. Everyone join us.
Everybody's white and fucking very little unemployment.
For a very special episode.
And almost
of an 80s sitcom. Very special episode. It's an episode where
somebody's going home.
Alex Keaton's friend dies and he has a retrospective. So
or Alice finally got married and everybody's got to clean up this house on their own.
So median home cost here is $45,100, which is insanely cheap. $185,000 is the average. So that is nuts. $45,100. That's you can't get an SUV for fucking $45,100.
That has a foundation.
These people this is houses. I'm sure they're shit houses, and we'll find out what kind of houses they are in a second here. 38% of the houses are less than $20,000 in this town. Think about that.
That's amazing.
About 30% of the houses are between $40,000 and $60,000. Like, it's insane. There's basically no houses worth over $100,000 in this town, which is nuts in terms of that.
Yeah.
And if we've convinced you that the only place to be, you see this as, you know what? You don't see it as a piece of shit. You see it as an unripe banana that's just gonna it's a fine wine.
It's a little green.
It's a little green, but it's gonna turn into something delicious. Either it's a fine wine that's only gonna keep paying off more in the future. We have for you the Mooresville, Missouri Real Estate Report. We have a 2-bedroom apartment on the average, which if there is any 2-bedroom apartments, this is like Bob's place costs this much.
Right.
It's $630. There actually is no real estate available in this town.
Nothing.
There's only a few households, as we saw, so there's nothing available in this town, but I do have some stuff in very, very close by towns that are just as big as shitholes.
Yeah.
So let's look into this. I found a 4-bedroom, 1-bath, that's not a lot of baths for a bedroom. 2,244 square foot house, which is a pretty big house in Carrollton nearby, for $23,900, which is batshit cheap.
So cheap.
That's crazy.
You could cram so many people in that house and you're all shitting in the same place.
Horrible. At least it's not a bucket. We have a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,216 square foot house in Chillicothe. Chillicothe.
I'll believe you.
$119,900. It's not terrible, but it's not great. Things to do.
Yes.
Jesus Christ, this town. We'll get into it. It's very strange. It's one of those things where I'm like, I don't even know how to describe why this is like this. Yeah. The things to do section, big on have the self-defense and rape aggression defense for women course.
Perfect.
Ages 12 and up.
America needs it.
Which is fantastic.
Yeah.
They should call Mandy Malone in to teach these broads how to kick some ass. That's right. I don't mean to call you broads, but that was a joke, obviously. But get Mandy in there to teach them. This is how you kick somebody on the side of the fucking head. Shout out to Mandy Malone there.
She's terrific.
It says here that the Livingston County Sheriff's Office has again partnered with Power Up to provide a very important class geared toward all women ages 12 and older.
Okay.
So you're telling 12-year-olds, people want to rape you.
Right.
Which I guess is good for them to learn to defend yourself, but how's that psychologically? Even though it's true and you should. I don't know, man. That's just
breaking a lot of news to a 12-year-old,
That seems like a lot. And then the other thing to do, this is what I mean, this town is fucked up, is the teen dating violence awareness and protection.
Oh, my God.
How much rape goes on in this town?
Truly.
Good Lord, there's 88 people.
Watch your blood hole, girls.
Stop raping. Whoever's raping, point them out, tell them to stop, and kick them out of town. Put them in a goddamn... What are we doing? How many fucking... What is happening in this town?
You'd think it'd be easier to round up the rapists rather than teach everybody that there's rapists.
I would say so. I would think so.
Just stop them from raping, and you don't got to worry about your girl getting raped.
Jesus Christ.
This is nuts.
Nobody rape.
Yeah.
That's it. Give Bill a job and stop raping. That's what we need to do here.
Those 4 unemployed fucks on the fucking assembly line.
They're the ones
somewhere.
raping, I have a feeling. I just know it.
They're the only ones with time.
They have time to rape. That's what I mean. They're home. They're ready. Also, they stopped giving the inmates soap, and they make them make their own soap and detergent now. They use the following, which is a picture of the homemade laundry soap, which is all sorts of weird household cleaning products that you mix together and you make jail laundry soap.
Am I on board with this? I don't even know.
I think so. It costs, it saves the taxpayers about $1,000 a year in soap. It's not as harsh also, and apparently it's more environmentally friendly.
Okay.
They're trying to say this is a good thing. Sure.
I don't know.
What the fuck? I don't know.
You're doing it, so who gives a shit?
The guys aren't complaining about it. They're not saying, "Oh my God, I'm itchy." So I guess it's fine. I don't fucking know. Stop stabbing each other. If it makes them stab each other either equally or less, I guess who cares after that? Crime rate in this town.
Somebody saw Fight Club and like, well, I know some dudes that fight.
Shit, why
make
not?
them make soap too.
They could make soap. Somebody was like, soap, that's it. That's going to save the money.
Stop it.
Property crime rate in this town is average, exactly average, which is weird because in a small town, 2 extra crimes crimes, it could have been sky high. You never
Changes
know.
everything.
And violent crime in this town, besides all the teen rape, apparently, is exactly average also.
Wow.
So murder, rape, robbery, assault, we have average par.
Yet we have classes.
Apparently so. It seems dangerous from what I've read.
Yeah.
From the things I've read. Let's talk about some people in this town, shall we? Let's get to this. Let's talk about a couple of elderly farmers. Okay. These are a couple elderly farmers. They live in this town. Ray and Faye Copeland.
Gotcha.
They're a married couple, Ray and Faye.
May as well get together if our names rhyme.
Names rhyme.
Perfect.
We someday felt that we both wanted to be elderly farmers.
Right.
I feel like, and we knew that as a goal we had. We wanted to be those people with the pitchfork, and
right.
That's what we wanted. That's the one. So as they get older, they're in Mooresville.
Yeah.
They need help. All their kids have grown up and moved out of the house. They have children. We'll get to that.
Fuck out of town.
So they need people to help. They have a farm.
Yeah.
It's a small farm, but they need people to help out on it because Ray's in his 70s. Right. He's having a hard time.
Can't make kids anymore.
That's tough. Yeah. If you don't have young, strong people, it's hard to work a whole farm on your own if you're elderly people.
The kids you make at that age ain't helping with shit.
No, and especially Faye, as we'll talk about, has another job she has to work at, like a regular job.
Yeah.
So it's tough going. It's hard scrabble.
Okay.
So Ray would go to shelters, homeless shelters, missions in nearby towns, anywhere where vagrants gather.
Yeah.
He'll go and hire them for farm work.
He may need to take that class they have. Those are kind of your number one guys that do some raping, Ray.
I would say, especially if you're an elderly farmer, you go, come out to this remote area with me, when I'm going to give you some farm equipment
I have
that's sharp
money
on the edges.
And food and weapons.
Sharp on
Follow
the edges.
me.
You could kill me. No one would. You could live on my farm for a month before anybody would notice. I keep to myself. People are used to seeing vagrants.
No kids anymore.
Used to seeing vagrants walking around the property, so that ain't going to raise no alarm bells.
Jesus.
So come on in, and I'll pay you $50 a day for the privilege.
Ray is brave.
So Ray is hiring homeless, but they're not even homeless. They're drifters. These people. They're not. It's not like they live around the town and they're homeless people. They blow through town. They stay in these missions for a little bit. They stay in these shelters for a little bit, and then they move to the next town.
Got it.
Most of these guys have extensive criminal records. I mean, it doesn't mean you have a record just because you're a vagrant,
right?
Just because you're a wandering hobo, but
it sure ups the chances.
It ups the chances of it. Yeah, if you're a drifter wandering from town to town, chances are you aren't like an adventurer in the late '60s, just taking Route 66 across the country.
Generally, don't have a doctorate.
No, most of the time that's not it. It's most of the time you're running from place to place because you're wanted for petty theft or like feeling up a pastor's daughter or something in the next town over. So, you know what I mean? You blew into the last town on the fumes of your van fumes on gas, and you had nothing else to do, and there you are. So
you sold your van because you couldn't put gas in it.
That's it. So you ran out, you sputtered out. Some guy paid you $200 for the van, and that's got you for the last 5 towns.
Right.
But the bindle's running low, if you know what I mean. And you're gonna have to call Grady Dinty-Moore Brewer to come in and see if he'll throw down a bindle fight with you.
You got 2 pieces of beef jerky left. That's all your protein.
2 pieces. Right. That's all you're going to get. So one man they meet in 1986 is Dennis Murphy.
Okay.
Dennis Murphy is he's had his issues in the past. He's had a record of petty theft and vagrancy and that sort of thing here. But Ray not only would they give them $50 a day, but he'd also provide them with a room. He'd provide them with a place to stay and meals and everything else. So you go to work on his farm, it's like an old time arrangement. Like you work all day, supper's on the table for you when you're done. You have a room there, and he gives you $50. So
deal.
Not a bad deal if you're drifting from town to town.
Yeah.
Even because a lot of times what would happen is they'd stay for a couple weeks, and then they blow out of town because they got a couple bucks in their pocket, and then they go to the next town because that's what these guys do. They're not looking to put down roots and be a farmer in Mooresville.
Right.
So they just make a few bucks and they leave. So this keeps happening. And a lot of times what will happen, too, and this will come up, is these guys will end up committing some sort of small crime in town or some sort of stealing or something, and then they'll come to the farm and go, hey, do you know this vagrant guy? And they'll be like, well, he blew out of town a week ago. Haven't seen him. I don't know. These guys do that all the time. The cops go, all right, then, see you later.
Right.
Like that happens a lot, and that'll come up. It's kind of a big issue in this whole story here.
And now back to the show.
So he's paying them $50 room and board, and these guys, a lot of them, like, they don't have a house, so they're happy to do this for a couple weeks. It steadies them for a minute here. So Dennis Murphy. Why did I say Daniel Murphy?
I don't know.
It sounds more Irish. I
didn't read it.
It's Murphy, and that's very Irish, and I feel like Daniel's a more Irish name.
It's a much more Irish name than
so I made him more. So Irish Dennis Murphy here. Yeah. I made him a shit boxer from, like a terrible boxer from the 80s when they were still trying to get white heavyweights to fight. It's Irish Dennis Murphy. He's our one hope. So he's the movie. With
the Great White Hype.
Great White Hype, exactly.
It's a great movie.
It's
so fucking
not
good.
A great movie, but it's entertaining as fuck.
Absolutely
I've
love
seen it 30 times, and I'd watch it if it was on, but it's not a great movie. Let's put it that way. It's a terrible movie.
I forget the guy's name. The guy that played the Great White Hype.
Jesus, Peter.
I forget his name. It is Peter. You're right.
Peter. He's a smart guy too. He's a director.
Yeah,
he
directed Battleship.
He's a really talented guy.
Yeah.
And I can't remember.
He also is
shit.
As if you believe Whitney Cummings, he's a terrible, terrible human being.
Oh well, I don't know.
That's her ex-fiance, whatever. They had a big falling out.
I would say I'm going to save my
save your own opinions.
I'm going to save my opinions there.
Well,
I'm going to save my comedic opinions here. I'll share my opinions on podcast companies and airlines and people that could actually hurt me.
Right.
But this I feel
people
like
that are insignificant. We'll fucking
inside knowledge things. I feel like we shouldn't. Say,
okay,
so we'll fuck them. So anyway.
All right.
So Murphy gets offered a place to stay here. Yeah. So he's there for a little bit, Murphy, and then out of nowhere, the sheriff's deputy follows up on some reports of fraud based on Murphy.
All right.
So there's several instances of fraud. So the sheriff's deputy visits the Copeland farm, and he hears basically, well, if you're looking for a vagrant, he's going to be at the Copeland farm. He's either at the Mission or the Copeland's house. That's where they're the ones who take in all the vagrants. So the sheriffs go there. He asks Copeland, "Do you know where he is?" Copeland said he took off one day. Haven't heard from him since. Happens all the time. Okay. So this was just a par for the course. Now Copeland is told by the officer that Murphy's a thief.
Yeah,
he defrauded people. He's a thief. He stole things. Copeland said he wasn't surprised.
Yeah.
Ray said he'd been swindled too. He said that Copeland had a check from Murphy that bounced due to insufficient funds.
Yeah.
Like, I guess he had lent this Murphy some money in the beginning. He laid out
gave him a little more than $50,
and then he was supposed to pay him back before he left, and he did, and it bounced, and then he took off out of town.
Got it.
So Ray's telling the cop this. Now apparently this is a weird thing that in this town that this is very common. There's apparently lately been a bunch of cattle auction scams going on by these drifter guys that come through.
What year is this?
This is 1824. No, this is what I mean. This is the 80s. This is happening.
Stupid.
This is 1987. This town, I don't know if it's this town, but this whole story could have taken place in 1825. Like, it could have taken place this is a pre-Civil War story that somehow took place in the 1980s.
Hilarious.
It's the weirdest. Everybody in it. There's drifters and vagrants and there's no drifters and vagrants and hobos.
Judas Priest is on the radio, and there's cattle thievery going on.
Oh my God, Whitesnake is crushing it right now. It's ridiculous.
Rats playing round and round, and there's cattle being stolen.
Run DMC is like rocking shit right now. You know what I'm saying? Like Public Enemy's ramping up, and NWA, and all this is happening, and they're like, we got cattle auction scams by vagrants and hobos that come in on the rail cars.
Unbelievable.
What the fuck is happening in this town, man? This is ridiculous, this place. So they're trying to figure out if Ray knows where any of these guys are, because they're like, any of these. And some of the guys, he said, oh yeah, a few of these guys came through, they all took off on me. After a couple weeks they were gone. I don't know nothing about it. They scammed they stole Faye's brooch and shit like that. I don't know. And the cops are like, oh damn it, but you be careful, Ray, stop taking in them vagrants now. Like,
truly,
they tell him, you better be careful about who you hire. Like, people tell him that, the cops would tell him that, and Ray doesn't listen to people's shit.
No.
Ray is an old hard scrabble farmer, and he's not listening to shit.
Got it.
He's one of those guys where he's just contrary, I feel like. Okay. You know those contrary guys that just sit no matter
worst fucking people.
No matter what it is, he's going to go the other way.
It's so annoying, isn't it?
It is. Like,
fucking hate it.
The president, whoever the president would be at the time, if he liked the president, or even if he didn't like the president, if the president, I don't know, killed a baby in the streets, on purpose, like,
and everybody was like, why did you kill kill that baby.
Campaign rally, picked it up to hold it and kiss it, and just changed his mind, held it by the ankles, and spiked it into the fucking street. And everybody was like, "Oh my God, we got to get rid of him." That's and he'd be like, "I kind of like him." He's that guy.
Who knows? That baby could have had a
you
cold.
Don't know. That baby could have been the devil.
Right?
Maybe he knows the Antichrist when he sees it. You ever think of that? Just to be contrary.
Maybe he's a time traveler and it was baby Hitler.
I did.
Who do you know?
I just set up possibly the worst scenario that ever. A man just out of nowhere smiling. "Oh, your baby's gorgeous."
Just holds it by the feet.
Spikes it. Gee, what the fuck is wrong with me?
Grabs it by the ankles. Windmill swings it.
That's exactly what I was describing. That's exactly what I was describing too. That is sad and horrible and didn't happen. Right. And also
completely never happened once.
It's fine. It
that
happened
we're aware of.
In my fucked up mind. Right. I'm sure it's happened at some point, but not that we're talking. Not in this story.
Right.
So these men, the cops, are having a hard time tracking these guys down.
Yeah.
Basically, these cattle auction houses through the 80s, and this will get really crazy, this story. It's not all about cattle auction houses, I promise. But you need to know about cattle auction houses for murders to make sense later. Don't fucking ask. It all comes together. Yeah. Trust us by now.
If you haven't seen those, by the way.
It comes together.
Google the fucking auctioneer that raps, and it's fucking incredible.
He
doesn't do it on purpose. Somebody edits it to make it a rap.
It's a bunch of cowboys sitting around staring at cows like they're women. It's really weird, dude. It's a strange. Look at her. I don't know about that. Ooh, I like a thicker thigh. I got to be honest with you. That's kind of
one too many teats. That ain't healthy.
People slow tugging on the sides. Just,
my kind of dudes.
Moo indeed. Moo indeed.
Moo buckaroo.
That's right. So this is apparently a common swindle in the 80s in the state of Missouri. Is buyers would show up, they'd purchase cattle by check because not a lot of people are going to have that much cash on them. Cattle are expensive. They purchase cattle by check, and then these people just disappear.
Got it.
And then the checks would inevitably, at the end, they would bounce.
But by then, the cattle's long gone.
By then, the guy's gone. He sold those cattle to another party, collected the cash for him, and he's 3 towns over. It's a classic kind of old-timey scam that people would do. Like I picture them getting away on like a horse-drawn carriage, like fast, like, "Go on now, move it," and there's like bottles of elixir falling out of the end of the carriage and shit.
They're screaming
yeehaw, move it, come on now. So cattle auction houses began to keep track of buyers. Obviously, they'd put up like, "Don't fucking take a check from this asshole," like a 7-Eleven, who weren't good for their money. And then they started actually sharing them among each other. So you couldn't go from one house to the next and scam. They'd be like, "Hey, if fucking, this asshole comes in, he ain't good for shit. Don't take a check from him." It's smart. It took them years of being scammed for countless amounts of cattle. I'm surprised. I don't know how that economy didn't collapse on that whole thing. But
they probably, because you don't want somebody else's competition around, you're like, "I hope that motherfucker keeps getting scammed," and they aren't helping each other.
That's possible.
Until they realize, oh my God, the same guy scamming us is scamming them too.
Yeah, we're
all getting fucked by the same people. Let's all stick together.
And a bunch of people are getting, wow, that's so weird. A bunch of people are getting pilfered cattle.
Yeah.
Farmers are getting pilfered cattle.
The same people.
Yeah, so if one auction house blacklisted you, they'd all blacklist you. So that was it. You were out. Once you're out, you're fucking out. So Ray Copeland, our farmer here, he quickly made it onto these blacklists also. He had some problems with these cattle houses. Hard scrabble farming, man. Things are tough. He built up a bad reputation, caused a lot of problems, and his whole livelihood was raising and selling cattle, and he couldn't raise or sell cattle.
Nothing.
So that because he wasn't allowed to buy any cattle. So he had a problem with this. All he had to do, he could only pay in cash. So what ended up happening is you're going to see where these two stories of hobos buying cattle and Ray come together.
Collide.
Ray figured he couldn't do it himself, so he couldn't move to another area where he could easily scam people who don't know him.
Was that a cow pun?
That was a cow pun. You know what I'm doing here.
You motherfucker.
What the fuck? He came up with a new plan, and that was to get these vagrants to buy the cattle for him. And then when they leave, he goes, "I don't know anything about them. They scammed me too." And the cops goes, "Oh, bastards." Meanwhile, Ray is taking the money. He's just having these guys, he's paying these guys to show up and buy cattle with their shitty checks. So once they get blacklisted, they don't care. They're not cattle dealers. They don't give a shit. They go to the next town. It doesn't matter. And it confused a lot of people. He got away with it for a long time. A sheriff here from the town said, quote, "It was so odd that so many of them would have checks, but when we went to go look for them, we couldn't find them. We'd enter them in the computer, and they would come up as a closed account.
Weird.
So weird. I wonder maybe it's weird too, because they said, well, like he needed money for cattle, he needed money for things, and so yeah, he would have the first scam he ran is he would have the drifters sign his name as if they were him, but they do it in their own handwriting, and then when he was approached, he'd go, I didn't write that. That person impersonated me,
stole my check,
stole my check, stole my cattle.
Yep.
But now he took the cattle, and they go, oh no, and then not my handwriting.
He's a victim.
He's a victim, exactly. He's a scam victim. That's when they're like, stop taking these guys in. They're scamming you, Ray. Whatever. His wife, Faye, said, quote, I begged Ray time and time again to please stay out of trouble. We had our home and everything paid for. We were on Social Security. So why would he turn around and mess all that up just like he has?
Yeah.
So she was upset about this whole thing.
Faye's trying to stay on the straight and narrow.
She's trying to not have her husband be arrested as he is for this cattle scam coming up here. The thing is, too, about this, you'd think, well, who the hell's going to let some fucking vagrant guy come in and buy a shitload of cattle with checks? But they come in, and a guy with a check doesn't look like a vagrant.
Right.
He comes in, Ray put a clean set of clothes on him. He just looks like a farmer.
Also, a cattle guy smells the same.
They're not going. That's what I mean. They're not going to come in a 3-piece suit anyway. And you go, I don't know, his shoes aren't polished. I think he's full of shit. He's going to come
like
in.
Piss. He should smell like
piss.
piss.
There's going to be shit on his clothes and shoes at some point.
For sure.
Everyone in there has shit on them.
Right.
So when everyone's got shit on them, if you have a checkbook,
you can't tell.
The guy with the checkbook's the one who's not a vagrant at that point. Otherwise, how else do you know? So eventually, though, they catch up to Copeland. They figure out that it's him after they end up catching a man.
Investigating a little.
They investigate. They catch somebody here. They figured out that all the buyers were repeat customers, and they did a little investigation. Actually, some half decent police work.
Okay.
But yeah, Ray would deny it and just say, I don't know. They're scamming me too. And after a while, though, it's like, how come everyone you bring into your home has the same idea for a scam to scam you? They're like, what if I buy cattle with Ray's signature? That's not something that just random people across the spectrum come up with on their own in a vacuum. Like I
don't think I'd ever come up with that idea.
Who the fuck would?
Even if I stayed on his property.
No, that's what I mean. Who would? And you might, but then would the next guy and the next guy and the next guy all come up with the same cattle stealing?
The only way that would be possible is if somebody gave them that idea.
Exactly. So anyway, they ended up catching a drifter named Gerald Perkins, caught working this scam.
Yeah.
So now you understand a little more. He needs help on the farm, but he also needs help in some criminal things. So now he's tying himself up with people who are from questionable backgrounds and questionable histories anyway, and he's entering into criminal conspiracies with them also.
It's not positive.
Sounds dangerous, this whole thing, for an old farmer, right? So police at this point, they catch a guy named Gerald Perkins, one of his minions, in the scam, and he gives Ray up in a minute. Says, Ray put me up to it. What the hell's
Gerald
this guy?
doesn't have tight lips.
Yeah, what the hell's Gerald got to lose on this? So he's like, I'm not going down for this, your fucking cattle. Like, whatever. He would pay the guys like a fee, he'd give him $50, and then he'd sell the cattle and make a bunch of money. So they weren't going to protect him. No. It's not like, it wasn't like they were in the mob and it was like, the 50s in the mob. That's all right. I'm going to go to the camp, but they're going to take good care of my fuck. Hey, listen, sweetheart, you, the kids, everything's taken care of. Fucking Vinny's going to come by every week with an envelope. You take that envelope. Don't ask no questions. Just take the envelope, take the money, pay for what you need, save the rest. No, that's not happening. Like this
isn't De Niro in Heat.
No, this isn't that. This is a drifter going.
Telling Val Kilmer, don't tie yourself to nothing. You can't leave in 30 seconds flat.
Yeah, that's
not what's going on.
This is a guy who's already long spent that $50 on moonshine, and it's over with, and he's got no loyalty to Ray at all. So police were suspecting Ray anyway, like I said, with all the people happened to be people he brought in, but now they had Gerald Perkins would testify against him and everything else. So they arrest Ray, and he spends the next 2 years in jail. So now he's an old farmer in jail, which sounds terrible. His wife is left at home. Faye is left with the farm there. So after he gets out of jail, he spends 2 years in jail. He gets out, and he says, all right, well, I got to fix this shit. I got to stop and get it together and figure out a way to make money legitimately. He says, I need to fine-tune my scam a little bit here. My scam, it was a little loose. That was my bad. That scam not working, my bad there. I mean, it worked, but I got caught, so that's
it worked.
My
except
fault.
For this one little small spot about people singing.
About actually going to jail in the end. Yeah, so that part didn't quite work. This time he got a little smarter with it in a way to kind of separate himself, because before, automatically, if he ran that scam twice in like 3 years of a guy signing his name, you could say, Jesus Christ, I don't know, these fucking bastards. But when you do it constantly and it's always your name, you kind of look suspicious at that point.
And
like,
worse,
why only you are getting cattle
and worse
scammed?
over, now you've been caught and convicted and been to jail for it.
Yeah.
This scam had better evolve.
That's what I mean. So he evolves it, all right.
Okay.
He now has these guys, these drifters, get a P.O. box. He takes them, opens up a P.O. box in their name. Once they have an address, then they can get bank accounts. So then he opens up bank accounts in their name. As soon as they get checkbooks, there's instances here where they don't even wait for the checks to come in the mail. Like they go to the bank to pick up the checks the day they're ready. Like they're not fucking around at all here.
They go to the ink press.
That's what I mean. They're like at the bank. They're calling like, my checks come in yet? Like super weird. So he would have them set up their bank accounts, and then he would have them buy cattle at the auctions with their bank accounts, and then he would sell them, and there'd be no proof of his involvement. He'd sell them 2 counties over to somebody, and he'd take the money. He'd kick these guys 10% or some shit, the guy with the bank account, and that's motivation for this guy to want to keep running the scam.
And Stinky McPherson's back on the rail.
That's it, man. Back on the rail, back fighting more hobos like Grady Dinty Moore Brewer. So what he would do is he'd get his use out of him, and then that was that. After the cops would catch on to a guy and he would get blacklisted, he'd move on to the next guy. So you could do this scam a little easier, and there was 1 million people trying to do a scam like this just with bad checks like we talked about. So it's not tied to him at all at that point. It's not like they're the only ones doing it. So he's got that going for him. There's no way to know how many times this happened with how many people.
That's impressive.
No way to know. It just, I mean, he did it constantly here. The town, they must have thought it was so weird that so many, every time there's a cattle auction, they must have thought it was so weird that this is a wonderful town. Drifters can just a drifter can just come into town with nothing, just a bindle on his shoulder, and start a cattle farm.
Just dropping money.
That's just lovely.
Yesterday, red and white checkers. Today, cattle farm.
This is where dreams come true. That's all I'm going to say. You can go from nothing to cattle farm in one day here in this town in Mooresville. Beautiful. So
the Circle Stink cross brand. That's what that is.
Circle Stink cross brand. So 1989, Ray employs a man named Jack McCormick, who sounds like an old time.
That's as cowboy as it gets, babe.
It sounds so old time, Jack McCormick. That's or like an old time detective, doesn't it? This is Detective Jack McCormick. He's going to investigate your case.
And nickname of Curly.
Pin it on a black guy. So McCormick's an interesting guy. He is not a 50s Joe Friday type.
Got it.
He describes himself now, this isn't put on him, as, quote, a common gutter tramp and drunk.
I like him.
So common gutter tramp and drunk. He's basically
a business card.
He's like a country singer from the 50s is what he is here, like a real one. He said he'd been living at the Victory Mission in Springfield, Missouri when Ray Copeland came around looking for workers.
Okay.
So now Ray promised him, and this isn't a bad deal, he walks up to this guy who's sleeping in a mission in Springfield who has nothing and is a, quote, common gutter tramp and drunk. And in 1989 Missouri, and we know how cheap it is to live there, he walks up to this man and says, I will give you $20,000 a year if you come work on my farm for you.
Deal.
I'll give you a job, place to stay, and $20,000 a year. This guy,
what a deal.
Okay. I mean, Jesus Christ. Any of these guys, I would assume, would jump at that if they knew anything about farming, I guess. I don't know. I would be useless on a farm. I'd be like, you could pay me, but that's going to be a lot of training time you're going to be paying for.
Very little farming going on.
It's going to be slow going is all I have to say, because I don't know shit about anything. I've never actually been on a farm.
I'm going to warn you and say the crops ain't coming in.
I picked strawberries one time at a thing. Like, other than that, I have no farm experience. We cut down our own Christmas tree once.
Let me ask, do you like Bermuda grass? I can grow that shit for you.
I can do it.
I'm good at that.
I'm decent. But if you have like a little bed of something, I can maybe grow you a couple cherry tomatoes. But on a large scale.
Maybe, if you're lucky, jalapenos.
And if we're talking about cattle, it's going to take even longer because I know nothing about cattle.
I don't know how much water those take.
A lot, I would think. They're pretty big. They look big. I don't know how much water
they're going to eat up all our Bermuda. That's
I feel
all I'm
like
saying.
no matter how much I give them, it's not going to be enough water, is what I'm saying. It's just never going to be enough. Look at this fucking thing.
Turn the water on, keep it going.
Keep it going.
Keep them coming.
So August 8th, 1989, he ends up getting printed checks at the Brookfield Bank for Jack McCormick because $20,000 a year isn't for farming. $20,000 a year is
for buying cattle.
Well, it's to get you out of the shelter. Then he gets you to the house and he goes, okay, never mind $20,000 a year for farming. This is what we're doing.
Right.
Here's the scam. You can't really, I guess, tell a guy in the mission.
No.
You have to make sure he's on board.
You can't tell a common gutter tramp.
No, he's going to tell everybody.
Right.
I got a good scam. Now, once you get him to your house and you put a plate of food in front of him and you go, here's the deal, he's going to go, all right, sure, I'm already here. Fuck
you call it a deal, not a scam.
No, exactly.
Different four-letter word.
We got a deal going on now. I'm going to teach you how to work it.
Right.
So they go to the Brookfield Bank. Ray goes with McCormick and picks him up from the bank. I mean, he's anxious. They go to an auction sale in Green City, Missouri. Okay. After the sale, Ray expresses, this is hilarious, this is McCormick's words, he expressed dissatisfaction with McCormick's cattle buying skills.
What does that even mean?
He bought the wrong cattle. And Ray was there. So Ray sat there, arms crossed, like fucking death staring this guy as he's buying the wrong cattle and thinking he's doing a good job.
See what you got, boy. Go bid that cattle.
And if you're McCormick, you're going, what the fuck do I know about how to buy cattle?
It's a cow.
You picked me out of a homeless shelter. Do you understand? It's not like I was like on some sort of recruiter site for cattle auction people who know how to like buy cattle. I don't know shit about cattle. Never claimed to. You came to me, asshole.
Right. Pull that card out again. See where it says. What was his name?
Common gutter tramp and drunk.
Jack McFarland was
Jack
it?
McCormick.
McCormick. Close enough.
Common gutter tramp and drunk. Do you see cattle in there?
That
anywhere?
is not a euphemism, nor is it just some sort of code saying cattle raising motherfucker.
What I mean is
that says.
I know nothing about cattle, is what I'm saying. So this job, I feel I'm unqualified for it. So I can understand your extreme dissatisfaction with my abilities.
Do you see common gutter tramp and overall alcoholic? That means I've fucked a woman the size of a cow, but I've never bought a cow. That's what I'm telling you.
Cattle expert anywhere.
I've confused a woman once with a cow and actually fucked a real cow.
She wasn't even big. No. I gotta be honest with you, a woman too. I don't know what I was thinking because she's a little kind of one. She was skinny. I don't understand.
I once got on a girl.
Very attractive, but still.
I once had rodeo sex. That's where you get on her and then whisper her sister's name and hold on for 8 seconds. That's my extent of the cattle business.
What is that from?
That's a dumb oldjokes.com probably.
I was going to say, what joke book is that from? Because I've heard that.
It is
somewhere.
not my joke.
No. I was literally like, I've heard that in like the 8th grade, and I'm like, where did that come from? Is that an old comic?
It's a common thing that just about every person on earth has heard.
I love it personally. So there you go. Good job. Way to pull it out of way to dust it off.
Perfect for a rodeo episode.
It's perfect for there's not a lot of episodes where we get the rodeo in here. We're going to be in New York in a couple weeks doing this. There's not a lot of rodeo there. I got an Ohio case, not too much rodeo.
Not
South Dakota, there's probably a fucking rodeo or two.
Missouri's got it in spades.
I got Florida coming out of my ass over
Fantastic.
here. Florida is annoying because there's so much crazy murder, and I'm like, I can only do one Florida per cycle. Good Lord. So the next morning here, they're all pissed off. Anyway, after the cattle auction, they're all pissed off. McCormick decides that he doesn't want to do this anymore. He quits. Fucking Ray is yelling at him for lack of cattle ability. He's like, I know nothing about cattle.
Right.
So they do that. He asks Ray to take him to the Brookfield Bank to close his checking account. So, he can't get him in more trouble.
I got to close my checking account that has zero money in it.
It has no money in it. That's a total scam that you made me open.
And
so
has
take me
checks that are already extended. We're going to close that account?
Let's do that. So for some reason, McCormick stays at the house that night.
Okay.
Stays at the house that night, too, because he has nowhere else to go. They're supposed to go to the bank the next day. The next day, Faye leaves the house early, which is not like her. She leaves way before she has to go for work. She makes excuses saying she's going to, she has to go to work early at her part-time job at the Holiday Inn.
Oh, boy.
She was a housekeeper at the Holiday Inn, Faye. We'll find out, too, later on. She did some other just jobs that sound so depressing for an older lady to have to do. So Ray, at this moment, Faye's gone. She's out of the house.
Put out there real quick that if you do stay in a hotel, tip your fucking maid.
Yeah, you should always tip your maid.
Always throw a couple.
Tip
I
your
don't
maid.
care if it's $5. Leave something extra for that poor woman.
You should leave $5 a night. I feel like that's fair.
That's very fair.
Unless you're doing horrible things.
Right.
You're not. All you're doing is you're cleaning out the shower and making a bed when I'm there. We're not making a mess. So I'm giving you $5 a night. Sorry, I can't afford more than that. Fuck you.
If you're fucking doing horrible things, if you're staying for a week and making a mess of that
also
place,
if you're partying in there, if you're drinking, you're leaving bottles everywhere. There's
leave
shit,
some money for that poor
shit,
woman.
and they have to clean it up. Leave money for these people, honestly. And also, you know what? Put a little butt on there too.
That's nice.
Leave a little weed for them.
In weed legal states,
even if it's not legal, leave it for them.
She probably smokes.
She probably does. If not, I'm sure
she knows somebody that does.
Somebody.
Yeah.
She'll give it to one of the other housekeepers who will then take a break, feel better, and then go in your room and clean it. Awesome.
Clean
she feels
the
good.
ever-living fuck out of it.
See, it's all, you got to pay it forward, man.
It's circular, babe.
That's what it's like.
This is a cyclical environment we live in.
So Faye has gone to work at the Holiday Inn in Mooresville. It's outside of Mooresville, but still, living in Mooresville, going to work at the Holiday Inn sounds depressing as shit.
It's like 4 rooms.
Yeah, it's how many people are staying there? That's the other thing. And
tiny.
really, how clean is it? You know what I mean?
How much does cleanliness matter?
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Or is it basically, this is the hotel here if you want to not drive anymore? So
it doesn't have one.
And if it does, go ahead and say whichever you want.
Right.
You got another place to sleep? Didn't fucking think so.
Best of luck.
Best of luck to you. So she's going there. Ray asks Jack if he can come into the barn with him to help him locate a raccoon that's come in there. Okay, there's a raccoon issue. Honey, the ferret's loose. Right. Jack, the raccoon, is in the barn. Turns out McCormick here, he notices as he's going into the barn that a tractor had been backed up near the barn, had a 2-wheeled tractor attached, and on the trailer of it was a shovel and a piece of plastic, like a big tarp, like you would drag something heavy, like if you were to make a bunch of leaves, you'd put a big pile of leaves and drag it,
like overkill for a raccoon,
or say a giant, like 180-pound raccoon, like one that's like a 5'11", 180-pound, that sort of thing, something like that. I guess they're poking a stick in a hole in the barn floor looking for a raccoon, which, again, depressing as shit. So McCormick is doing that, and as he turns, he sees that Ray is pointing a .22 rifle at him. Okay. So things have taken a turn. Yeah. Now all the shit in the trailer that he's with the tractor outside is all starting to make sense now. He's like, oh, didn't think of that as he was going in. He was just like, oh, that's weird. I guess that's for the raccoon. Right. Whatever. We're gonna bury the raccoon, apparently. So instead here he sees that, and that's got to be a scary sight. But Jack McCormick, he talks Ray into letting him go. Okay. He says, "Don't shoot me. Just take me to Brookfield, and I'll take off, and I'll go.
You'll never see me again.
Go 5 states over. You'll never go.
Common gutter tramp.
Common gutter tramp and drunk.
Right.
A, no one's going to believe me, and B, it doesn't matter anyway. I'll be gone, drifted away. I'll have a new name by next month probably. Right. So it doesn't make a goddamn difference.
I'm a Billy Joel song.
That's it right there. Yeah. He's. I don't know if he's a Billy Joel song. He's like, I'm solitary man. Right. I'm a Neil Diamond song. That's me. So he got burned once, and then next thing you know, he's on the road, man. That's what happens.
He's a Springsteen song. That was Born to Run. Tramp was in that song.
I'm sure.
I think it was.
There's a lot of songs,
Tramps in the Night or some shit like that.
Yeah, there's probably a lot of 60s songs about it. Well, anyway, that's what he's going to do.
He's one of those.
He has like an Easy Rider fantasy in his mind. Like he's going to go around and party in New Orleans.
He's Peter Fonda.
None of this has happened at all for him. It's all turned wrong. Yeah. It's all gone wrong. Anyway, they say, he says, just take me there. Ray said he would, but first they had to go to the courthouse for some reason. At the courthouse,
to get married?
Faye was there. Yes, they were going to get married. They said it's the 80s in Missouri, and everyone in this town is Christian and that sort of thing, but we're going to get gay married, whether you like it or not. We're here. We're people, and we have rights.
Yes, we do.
We're going to impose them on. That didn't happen actually at all, because they would have probably been murdered, I assume, in this town for that kind of outright, just being a person. I'm sure. Wait a second, you're not white and Christian. Right. Wait, you are, but you're gay too. Oh no, their brain would explode if they just
everybody make them a cake.
No, we're Christian too. We've been like, huh? No. Oh, man, they go home and kill themselves in the barn.
This is too much to process.
Blow their brains out in the barn. I don't know what the world is anymore, and just dead. So they do this. They go there. They're at the courthouse, which McCormick says that when they got to the courthouse, Faye seemed very surprised to see him.
Yeah.
Like, wow, I thought, I don't know, you'd be
still draw wind?
Dead in a barn. Right. I don't know. At this point, I don't know what happened here. A little bit later, Ray takes Jack to Brookfield, and he closes his checking account, even though there was a check for $1,157.46 to the Green City auction barn that was still outstanding. They still allowed him to close it for some reason.
Okay.
Jack said he didn't want to return to the farm for his belongings because he was scared that he'd be killed if he went back there.
Yeah.
So he didn't want to go back to the farm for the belongings. He said after that they did the checking account and they parted company. Yeah. And Jack said, I'll get my stuff later, but wasn't planning on ever getting his stuff.
I'll go pill for some more.
Yeah. So he instead goes to the bar. Jack does. Yeah. He's a common gutter tramp and drunk here.
General alcoholic. Right.
So he's going to the bar. He meets a woman named Rose Clevenger there. He tells her about the Copelands, and he says that he thinks that he's going to be harmed if he returns to their farm for his belongings. She says, fuck this. Yeah. No, you're not going to let these people take your stuff.
Right.
This is ridiculous. Right. I will take you there. We'll go together. Nothing will happen to you if I'm there too.
Right.
She's very like white lady. She's very like, no, I will come with you and I will go. And I don't know if that's brave or if that's just stupid.
Don't worry, I'll talk to the manager.
They won't shoot both of us on a rural remote farm because I don't know why. Because you're you. Why are they not going to shoot you too?
Because I'm Rose.
Because I'm Rose, and everyone likes Rose. So Rose has a lot of confidence in herself, which that's good for her, but maybe not the smartest thing in the world. So she says, no, I'm taking you to Mooresville. You're going to get your belongings. They get to the farm. Ray comes outside as they pull up, just cursing up a storm at Jack, telling him to go fuck his mother, just everything you could think of. He's lighting him up like a Christmas tree coming out, which is weird for an old farmer. You don't expect that behavior from an old... I would have liked to have witnessed that, is what I'm saying.
It'd be fun.
I want to see a man pull into a driveway and see an old, elderly farmer in overalls come out and just fucking curse this guy into oblivion. That sounds amazing. So he comes out, he's cursing. McCormick here, Jack introduces Rose as his sister, but Faye is behind Ray,
and she knows her.
I know her from the Holiday Inn. No, she doesn't believe that that's his sister. For some reason, she cares. I don't know what the hell she cares.
So
what
weird.
This woman's relationship to him is. But Faye pushes this whole thing, and she says that she insists that she sees this woman's driver's license to see her real name because she doesn't believe she is who she says she is. I don't know if they thought she was a cop or something. I don't know what they were.
There's 88 people in this town.
I don't understand what kind of sting operation they're setting up here or what, but she shows Faye her license, and Faye writes down her name.
Oh my God!
And her license plate number on a piece of paper,
like a police officer,
like a weird type of police officer, or like Robert De Niro in Goodfellas. You may know who we are, but we know who you are. You know what I mean? One of those, and he fucking takes his driver's license and puts it in his pocket. I feel like it's maybe one of those. Like it's intimidating type of thing. Like I know you. I have your driver's license number. I can find out
everything about you now.
I'll find out everything about you. I'll hunt you down. I'll kill your mother. That's the whole thing. So he said, fuck your mother, and then I'll kill your mother.
Got it.
So they're threatening people's mothers in a farm driveway. So this they end up getting stuff. Some of the stuff, we don't know if they got all the stuff. It's some drifter's belongings. It really doesn't matter. There's not that much there.
It's very small amount.
It's a bindle. Let's be honest. It's a bindle on a stick.
It's a couple of shirts.
That's right. So Jack tells police. He ends up going to police and telling them that this Rose woman says you have to go to the police and say that they pointed a gun at you. He goes to the police and says that Ray tried to kill him after he was employed by him, but the cops were kind of iffy on it because they're like, okay, he's some old farmer that does cattle auction scams, but you're like a crazy alcoholic who's described yourself as a common gutter tramp and drunk, and you're telling us now that this old guy's tried to kill you. But he didn't kill you, though. You're still here. Like, okay, buddy, whatever.
The business card you just handed us tells us that your credibility is fucked.
Yes, and they wanted him to take a polygraph, and he didn't want to take a polygraph either, so it was like one of those where they were like, all right, well, get the fuck out of here then. Go drift on to the next town, dickhead. So one of those. He kind of takes off. Now, August 20th, 1989, Jack McCormick calls a hotline for tips that gives reward money, and he calls the hotline and says it's a reward money for any kind of open cases, basically. It's like a general Missouri state tip. He calls
it's Crime Stoppers.
It's like Crime Stoppers, yeah. He calls and says that he had found bones and a human skull on the Copeland farm.
Oh, boy.
And he says, can I have money now? Yeah. I figure that was it. So I found bones.
Yeah.
Do I get a reward for that? They're like, nah, not enough. He's like, and a skull?
There was a head.
I found a skull. It was like a baby. Right. I think they killed a baby.
It looked like it had been ankle wheel.
I feel like it was held by the ankle and whipped into the ground. Windmilled into the
concrete,
possibly
maybe a gutter,
by a gubernatorial candidate or somebody running for an office. I smelled cologne on him, is what I'm saying. It was a Paco Rabanne, maybe something from the 80s.
There was something called Ed 2 or some shit like that. I feel like
possibly that's what it was. There
was something Ed Toilette on it.
I smelled cool water on it, I think. So,
something more pricey than Old Spice is what I'm saying.
That's hilarious. So, Jack McCormick, they're like, well, who the fuck, who are you? What are you talking about? It goes nowhere, this whole thing. Anyway, he ends up between August and September. Jack McCormick drifts in a boozy haze across this nation. I assume in the direction that the Oregon Trail went, and he ends up in Oregon.
Great.
He's going from Missouri to Oregon, which is hilarious. I hope he did it on a wagon, the whole deal. So the police track him down and charge him with bouncing checks in Missouri in the cattle auction scam. So he ends up, Jack does, at this point. So I don't know why he didn't think of this first if he's trying to get Ray busted. I found a skull. That sounds far-fetched from this guy. If he said, I did a check scheme with him where he forced me to, but that sounds believable because he's a cattle scammer. But I guess then you implicate yourself, which isn't you're not going to go to the police with that. You're just going to go to the next town and say, fuck it.
But he's already implicated himself because he's written bad checks in his own goddamn name.
No, that's true.
You can save your own skin with some information.
I think that's probably he's waiting to get busted. You're not going to go ahead of time and go, well, I did this with him. Well, then you're in trouble too.
It's jumping the gun a bit.
So they get him and they end up arresting him there for these. And then McCormick basically gives the whole operation. He's the Sammy the Bull here. He gives the whole breakdown of how the check cashing scam worked.
Got it.
Had everything he knew about it, who he would sell the cattle to and where, what, he would have him do the P.O. box. And this puts the whole thing together for the cops. They just have a bunch of bounced checks and a bunch of vagrants' names. They don't have, now they have
know
a scheme.
How it works.
Now they have a whole scheme. So this is very valuable information. So he tells these stories. He does that. He also says, I found a skull too. And they're like, enough with the skull. Tell us about the checks. That's something we can prove. You're out of your mind with the skulls here. What they end up doing, though, is they, I guess it's, well, he was right about the check scam.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at the farm anyway. Let's do that. And also, too, we'll find out Ray's got some things in his past that make him not exactly the most upstanding guy in the world. So they're like, let's check it out here.
Uh-oh.
This is a 40-acre farm.
Yeah.
It has a pond, a barn, fields, woods.
Yeah.
It's a lot to look for a skull in or a bone in. They have a huge search party. They all these possible burial sites anywhere where there's disturbed land. They're looking for human remains. They have dogs, backhoes digging shit up. They have the long stick things.
There's tons of disturbed land.
It's all over the place. They're looking. So what they do is on October 9th, 89, they arrest Ray for fraud.
Okay.
Let's lock him up while we do this. They arrest him for fraud. They say that he netted $32,000 in reselling cattle because it's all profit. He didn't have to put anything out. So you're selling something you got for free.
Yeah.
That's some mob shit there.
Yeah.
It's like, well, it fell off a truck. So it's $100 instead of $200. It's
Zero
all profit.
overhead.
Zero overhead. Right. The sheriff and around 40 officers searched this farm with search warrants, looking for dead people. In this search lasts for weeks. They even poked holes in the walls trying to find hollow hiding spots. They weren't fucking around.
They went deep.
They were really looking. There was 9 days of searching with no success. Then they started to think that McCormick was full of shit.
Day 4, they started thinking that.
Listen, pal. We just spent. There's 40 of us.
Right.
We got. You know how expensive these fucking dogs are to have out here every day. It costs a lot to train them. I don't know if you're aware of this county, but we make our own soap,
right?
Because we don't really have a ton of money. So what we're saying here is this shit better be true.
Yeah.
The fuck is your problem? Tell you what, asshole. Why don't you come out? I don't know why they didn't do this to begin with. They said you come to the fucking farm and tell us show us where the skull was.
On day 10, they did that?
They did this on day 10. You think this would be, let's take Jack there, see if the spot he says the skull is, check there first is what I'm getting at, and then fan out from there.
There's a guy.
Then bring in the dogs.
Yeah, there's a guy that has dogs in that town that goes, my dogs will find them. I'll bet you a T-bone steak. And he did not want to cough up that T-bone steak.
No,
he went,
I'm telling you.
9 days.
Here, Rusty gonna find him. That's all I'm gonna say. He's a red-haired tick hound, and he gonna find him like I don't even know if that's a real dog.
It's a blue tick.
I don't fucking know. He's red.
Close.
This one's red. He's got a special one. That's why he thinks he could find it.
I'm sure there's a red one,
He's
too.
very special.
Yeah.
He's a red one. It's very different. So
they got Clifford the big red dog out there.
Yeah. So this Sheriff Odell is one of the people who takes Jack McCormick back to the farm. He says that he remembers telling McCormick, quote, just point to where the skull and leg bones were. That's all.
They are frustrated.
You just point to the skull and we'll take it from there. Take you on back.
These dogs ain't shit.
We'll take you for ice cream afterwards, as a matter of fact. So, So Sheriff Odell says, point them out.
Yeah.
Where's the skull, hot shot?
There it is.
And apparently when McCormick is confronted with this, kind of put up or shut up thing, he gets really nervous. And he tells police at that point that maybe he was just mistaken. He says it could have been a discarded pan or another kind of a large object poking out from the bushes. Yeah. And he asked to be taken away from the farm.
Then the sheriff beat the holy shit out of him.
They did. They beat nightstick the fuck out of him.
9 days, you motherfucker.
They let the dog bite him. Yeah. He's asked to be taken off the farm right away. He says he doesn't want to spend another minute more than he needs to at this fucking farm.
Yeah.
He's out of this farm. So police are pissed off at this point here. They're pissed. They're like, how is this guy so scared?
Right.
This alcoholic drifter guy is petrified of this fucking farmer. He's full of shit. He's got farm scams. Who the fuck is Ray Copeland?
Right.
Who is this asshole, and why is this happening? And what we need to look a little deeper. Who is he? Let's find out.
Okay.
He was born in 1914, Ray Copeland, so that's why he's in his mid-70s here. He's born in Oklahoma. He moved continuously, his family did, as a child. He's from like a drifter family, which was common in the 20s and 30s in the kind of the Dust Bowl. Because Oklahoma was turning into the Dust Bowl when he was like 5-6 years old. So it was tough there. So they moved all around. They ended up settling in Ozark Hills, Arkansas, which that's scary.
Very
that's
shit.
I believe that is the setting for Deliverance.
And also, I believe the Beverly Hillbillies.
Is that where he came from?
I think Texas.
I don't know where he came from.
Let me tell you about it.
Louisiana? No, not Louisiana. It's not a Creole.
The South.
It's not a fucking Creole somewhere.
It was Black Oil Texas tea, but it wasn't. I don't think they came from Texas.
No, I feel like
I think it was the Ozarks.
They were hill folk, not rednecks.
Right.
They were different type.
Hillbillies.
They were hillbillies.
Right.
There you go. So
I'm pretty sure it was Arkansas.
Probably. So Ray dropped out of school in the 4th grade to help his family, because that's what you had to do back then, especially if you were like vagrant, Dust Bowl people.
Yeah.
Vagrant Dust Bowl Okies. You had to everyone, all hands on deck at this point here. You're going to work with dad.
Right.
That's the way it works here. So they grow up really hard and tough, obviously. The whole family does. He's got a lot of siblings, and it's a tough times back then. 1934, when he's 19 years old, he steals 2 hogs from his father. So he's been running livestock scams for 50 years.
Whole damn time.
He steals 2 hogs from his father and sells them in the next town.
Okay.
So that's a thing that he figures out. From there, his dad, by the way, finds out about it and gets pissed off at him, but never turns him in. He doesn't have any kind of criminal interaction out of this. The police don't get involved at all. From there, he keeps stealing livestock from other local people. He's like, well, obviously, if I steal them from my dad, that's obvious.
That gets me caught real quick.
That's going to get me caught. I got to go 2 farms over and steal some shit, and then whatever. So he keeps stealing hogs and all, and he moves on to cattle. That's how he kind of gets some of his cattle expertise here. He's like a rugged kind of Western guy.
Sure.
There's a picture of him I found. He's like on a horse.
Yeah.
It's like one of those where it looks like the horse is like in mid buck, like it's, you know, the front end's down and the ass ends up, and he's like doing some cowboy shit on there. Yeah, he's an old timey cowboy. Right. This guy, still 1936, not 1876, but he's always in the wrong time period. I feel like Ray would have been fine if he was born in 1814. You know, well, they would have probably hung him for cattle thievery. They wouldn't have just given him time in jail. Never mind, he's better off.
He'd have been one of Billy Kid's boys. That's what he would have been. Part of the younger gang,
probably. Let's find out about him here. Now, 1936, he's arrested in Harrison, Arkansas for forging checks.
Oh boy!
So I mean, these are like not even new ideas that he has. It's just the same thing. He's sentenced to a year in jail. Keep track of these sentences of his jail terms, because they don't make any sense at all. It's not a deterrent. Let's just put it that way. So he gets 1 year in jail there. 1940, in the spring of 1940, when making a visit to the doctor, I guess just getting a checkup, he said, he was making a visit to his doctor's office, and he meets 19-year-old Faye Wilson. Faye Della Wilson.
Got it.
Faye.
Yeah, close enough.
Completely missed those.
Same name.
Faye Della Wilson he meets, and falls for her. And it's small town. It's like if you're two single 19-year-old people, it's like, well, you're here, I'm here.
Let's do this.
Well, I guess we're doing this here. They become a couple pretty quickly. She was born in 1921. Her parents' names are Rufus and Gladys Wilson, which sound like black people.
Yeah, they do.
She's not black at all. She's just super white, as a matter of fact.
Rufus and who? Gladys?
Rufus and Gladys Wilson.
Good Christ.
She came up awfully hard also in the terms of not like him with kind of having a fucked up family that moved around. Their family was just poor. They were known as a hardworking couple. They were actually raised 7 children. They didn't have a lot of money at all, but they were considered like a close knit.
Because they got 7 fucking
kids. But they kept it together. They weren't a mess. They weren't the wild and wonderful whites of West Virginia. They were like, there's 7 of us, and our shit isn't nice, but it's clean. You know what I mean? Like everything, it's clean, and it's hard to keep it clean because they grew up in a dirt floor cabin.
Oh my gosh!
She grew up without flooring.
That sounds horrible.
Horrible.
I can't. I've heard of it before, obviously.
Crime and Sports episodes. We've had like 3 people that grew up with dirt floors.
I'll never get over that as long as I live. That sounds so bad.
That's the difference. There's a couple. Okay. Yeah. I would say there's 3 differences between indoors and outdoors. Yeah. There is a roof, I think, number 1, from weather and the rain and sun.
General walls.
Walls, I would say, would be 2. And third would be the floor.
Maybe some flooring.
I would say those 3 things are make a little box that protect you from the outside. Everything else is just, cosmetic. After that, you can put bathrooms and sinks and, things like that. But
the nice part about a foundationed house is that shit can't dig its way in
through the bottom. Yeah, you're not going to have raccoons like they are in the barn pop up. And that's a plus, I feel like, at that point.
You wake up snuggled into a fucking possum. That's ridiculous.
That's a bad morning when you wake up next to a possum.
Not the best.
Nah, well, maybe it's a good morning. I don't know what these people are into.
Maybe you wake up and you go, well, breakfast just snuggled into bed with us.
Yeah. So back then, I guess, kill it. Snap its neck.
Yeah.
Shh, be quiet.
Open it up.
Open it up. See what's inside. Delicious inside. So Ray, apparently she said later on that Ray promised to protect her. That was the big thing. I'll always protect you. Yeah. He's a big cowboy guy.
Yeah. I picture him as like just a dry-skinned, like dusty.
Oh, leathery as fuck.
Yeah, his hands are so dry. They've got so many calluses.
Big, dry, split, calloused hands, cracked
and bloody. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. I see that also.
Like blood in the cracks. It doesn't drip.
Yeah, no,
it doesn't drip.
It's dry. It's dried blood in the cracks. Yeah, but
you hold hands and you're blood brothers.
That's right. That's how it works now. Apparently, she dug that. And back then too, if you just found someone of the opposite sex that was around the same age as you, that you sort of like you just got married. Right. Fuck it. And you stayed together for 80 years. That was life.
May as well.
So they both said, and who knows if this is true, but they both said they had never had sex before, and they didn't have sex until they got married.
I believe it.
I believe it because they got married 6 months after they met.
Yeah.
So I feel like they were like, we're getting married.
I like
now.
you. I want to fuck you.
I want to fuck you now. So we're married? Good. All right, let's do it. I feel like that's another reason why there was a lot of marriages back then was, we want to have sex.
Way.
Yeah, so let's just get married, and then because we can't get divorced because everyone will look down on us.
Right.
Now we have to be together for 60 years, hate each other, be alcoholics, abuse each other, and people beat the shit out of each other.
But at least there's fucking.
But there's some fucking. Well, there was back then, and then that goes away. And, you have horribly abusive cycles, and then people beat their kids, and it goes on and on and on.
Right.
And all that because you couldn't have sex because you're a Christian.
Right.
Sorry, religious people. But yes, I know if you go the other way and all the kids are fucking, then you have other problems. But it's not. It's just different.
It's
Never
either
mind.
this life or I tug with these cracked calluses.
There has to be a happy medium, is
Right.
what I'm getting at. There has to be a happy medium. There has to be. So
these cracked calluses hurt.
it hurts. I can't jerk it.
I got jizz in them.
I can't. I mean, it burns.
stings.
It burns, boy. So at this point in the 40s, Ray buys a lot of land on the outskirts of Mooresville, Missouri.
Okay.
This is just a small plot. It has a farmhouse and a couple of barns and a little bit of open space. Ray had started. He knew his cattle. He knew his cattle shit at this point.
Yeah.
He got his cattle business down.
You've been stealing for years.
And he thought the best way for him to provide a life for his family and have a nice life here is to sell cattle. He's going to be a cattle dealer, going to buy and sell cattle, wheeling and dealing some cattle. 1941, they have a son named Everett. He's born. 1943, they have a second son named Billy Ray.
Yeah.
So Billy Ray, keep these names, or they come fast and furious. 1944, the family moves to Fresno, California,
Perfect.
which we found out from San Francisco people is apparently their Tucson.
Right.
Basically, that is California's Tucson is Fresno. Sorry, Fresno. We're just saying what other people have told us.
It's not our fault.
It's not our fault. We know nothing. So 44, they moved to Fresno. 1945, there's a daughter named Betty Lou born. So now
There's
you
a
got
lot of people in Fresno right now going, you believe everything queers tell you?
That's right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I'm here to tell you, yeah, we do.
Yeah, and then they take their Oakleys from the back of their necks and put them on their head. So
Go on.
1945, the daughter Betty Lou is born, so now they have a Betty Lou and a Billy Ray. 1947, they have another son. Want to guess a name?
Jimmy Jack.
Alvia.
I was close.
Close. That's what you'd expect, right? Alvia, Alvia. I don't know if that was like her grandfather or son. I have no goddamn idea. But Alvia, 1947. 1949, Ray is accused of stealing horses from a neighbor who's a local farmer out in Fresno. Why don't you go a town over and steal the horses? He's lazy.
Why are
You're
you
lazy,
stealing
Ray.
horses?
You're lazy, Ray.
Right.
Like, I want to steal some horses. Looks out the window. There's some. He's like, no, those are not the horses you want to steal. Go to the place.
Those horses are not your horses.
Go to the place where the horses couldn't see your house from where they're walking around. So no charges end up happening here, but his reputation in the town is ruined. Everybody thinks he's a thief. He can't get credit for livestock and for equipment and things like that like he used to because nobody trusts him anymore. It's a mess here. So his fourth son is born right about this time, and his name, he calls him William Wayne. So now there's a Billy Wayne and a Billy Ray and a Betty Lou.
Oh, my God.
So Billy Wayne, Billy Ray, and Betty Lou.
And Alvia.
Alvia, the son.
Alfalfa.
And alfalfa here. So shortly after he's born, after old Billy Wayne is born, or William Wayne, he likes to be called. I don't blame him since his other brother's fucking Billy.
Yeah.
They didn't, I don't think, realize that William is also Billy.
Right.
They named the one Billy, and then they were like, well, William. And no one said,
that's my name.
nope, didn't happen. So they move back to Arkansas after that. So full circle here. They do the full Okie tour back to Arkansas. After about less than a month there, Ray is arrested for cattle theft.
Of course.
So he cannot stop stealing fucking cattle.
He's a cattle thieving son of a bitch.
Absolutely. He ends up getting sentenced to 1 year in jail for this.
Okay.
Which, I mean, I guess that makes sense because he's done it before, but the cattle were returned. It's not
I
like he ate them.
suppose.
I don't know. They're
But
cattle.
he's still not learning a lesson.
That's the thing.
It's
And
not
they gave him the
stopping.
same sentence, and
Right.
we'll talk about that. 1950, Ray gets out of jail and moves the family to Rocky Comfort, Missouri, which sounds like the garden spot of America.
Sounds terrible.
In 1951, he's arrested for, guess what? Cattle theft.
You bet.
Again, this is 1851, 1951. He's sentenced to manual labor on a judge's farm.
That doesn't seem fair.
Not just a judge's farm, the judge that sentenced him to
Yeah,
manual labor on the farm. He didn't even say, like, I'm sentencing you to Judge Parker's farm and then down the street. He's like, you're coming to my house, you son of a bitch.
I could use you.
How the fuck is that legal? Like, I sentence you to remodel my basement. What, just sentence people to whatever? What year is it? What the fuck is happening?
Judge Judy should make people do work on her house.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
When you long for the old times,
Right.
This is the old times. Don't long for it. It was terrible. It was just as bad. Sorry, this is terrible.
I'd watch that TV show.
That would, yeah. Well,
you could partner up so much shit with that. So many TV shows.
Yeah, you could roll up a bunch into one. We'll have to talk about that later for ideas to pitch. 1953, he's fresh out of jail, moves the family to Illinois.
Okay.
They stay there for a little bit, and then they start moving from town to town, just like he did when he was a kid. They move continuously for the next 8 years.
All the kids.
From 1953 on. All these Billy Rays and Waynes and Betty Lou's and Billy Bobs. Moving
so much
them
packing
everywhere for 8 years. Over that time, Ray is arrested 3 different times for check forgery.
Of course,
in the next 8 years in a bunch of different towns. So, and that's only what they could find record of. Who knows how many times he was told, "You get out of this town before I put a bullet between your eyes," or some shit like that by the sheriff.
Right.
But instead of in lieu of formal arrest, he took it a different way. 1961, Ray buys 20 cattle. Problem is, he buys them with a bad check.
Of course he did.
Obviously. And he's arrested and eventually sentenced to 9 months in jail. So we got 1 year, 1 year, and 9 months.
It's going backwards. White privilege.
He's learning. He gets it. It's fine.
We're got to walk him there.
The more he does it, the less time he gets. I feel like it's just a general. He's getting it.
Right.
He's going to understand.
Where the hell is Hanratty to chase him down for all these checks?
No shit.
We need a...
Come on here. So,
knock, knock. That's my favorite knock, knock joke of all time from Catch Me If You Can. Knock, knock. Who's there? Go fuck yourself. That's the end of the joke.
That's the joke. It's a very Boston joke, isn't it? It's very Boston-centric. I love Boston. We love you, Boston. So he gets out of jail, fresh out of jail again in 61. He's learned his lesson, right? He's fine now. But he does need cattle. Yeah. He's always got a cattle issue. Yeah. He's like a coke dealer who gets out of the pen. He did some federal time.
Right.
He gets out and he's like, I gotta get my shit back in the game.
Yeah.
I need to get me a couple of keys at least to put out on the street and start building this shit up. Right. That's what he comes out and he's like, all right, I gotta sling this cattle.
I need a couple head of cattle.
He's slinging cattle, man. That's the thing.
By the way, have we discussed a head of cattle? Is that just like a cow?
I think that's a cattle because you'll like 100 head. So I think that's.
Why don't you just say 100 cows?
I don't know. I don't know why you would say that. Why do you say?
I assume they've all got heads.
Why do you say I bought 3 pairs of jeans?
I suppose you got a point.
You got
that's
one fucking
pair.
leg of the jeans you bought? I bought 5 jeans. That's plenty. We know what you bought. Point. You don't need 5 pairs. They
why
don't
are
come.
We saying that?
They don't come in single legs. I don't think that I've ever seen. I bought 5 pairs of shoes. Did you? That's good. You didn't just buy 3 rights and a couple of lefts of a different brand. You bought 5 pairs.
If some guy sells me 100 head of cattle and then he shows up to my house with a dump truck and just dumps 100 heads on my yard, I'm going to be pissed.
Maybe that means they're alive.
Okay, is that what that means?
I don't know. Maybe that means they're alive, though. That would make sense. Maybe 100 head means like you're going to.
They're all attached.
He's going to walk them over to you, whereas the other ones would be you're going to open a door and see them hanging from the ceiling.
Sides of beef.
Maybe that's what it is.
Right.
So I don't know.
It better be.
So he buys 19 cattle at a livestock auction with a bad check. Yeah. He's arrested again. And he's sentenced to another 9 months.
Jesus.
It's the same year. I think you should get more time for that, maybe. You fucking guy, I don't know how he gets out of this.
It's a joke, because we don't believe that it even fucking happened.
It's so stupid. That's true. It's, at least not in this century.
Like you were stealing cattle for real?
Why? So 1966, the family moves back to Missouri. In 1967, they settle on a 40-acre farm where? Mooresville.
Yes.
And here's where we start again.
You betcha.
Oh, it's all looping back.
Yes,
you know it, baby. This is he buys this plot of land, this 40-acre farm that they live on through this whole time for $6,000.
Wow.
Which seems like it's way too much.
That
I feel
seems
like
great, though.
It feels like it's under. It feels like it's more expensive than it would be today, inflation included. You know what I mean? Like $6,000 then was more than $23,000 or whatever the average place is there. It seems like. So 1970s, early 70s, to the neighbors, they look like a normal, kind of older farming couple. They lived a simple life. They appeared to be just people who weren't that social.
Right.
A lot of times the farm people, sometimes they're social, but a lot of times these older people, they're kind of, they're on their own.
To themselves
they keep to themselves. They're not, they have a farm. They have 40 acres.
We got shit to do. We don't have time to congregate with my neighbors.
That's what I mean. Right. We're kind of on our own land and leave us alone, and we're just kind of quiet. They didn't like to socialize a lot, but nobody, like I said, that wasn't out of the ordinary. Nobody made a big deal out of it. Turns out on the inside, though, Ray was super abusive.
Oh, boy.
He would beat the shit out of Faye at the drop of a hat.
Wow.
He was a horrible horribly abusive person to everybody in the family.
Asshole.
No one outside the family knew any of this, but the kids knew all about it.
Yeah.
And later on, they would recall times. One of his children, Alvia Copeland, good call going by Al.
Yeah.
He says
probably the best shortened of that name.
I would say
there's very few ways.
He's Al Copeland, which sounds much more normal in this area for it to not get like beat up than
he's
Alvia.
The bank manager.
Alvia,
right.
What does that sounds like? A woman name. Yeah, he's the bank manager, Al. So he says that he can recall thousands of times that Ray lost his temper and took it out on either the wife or the kids. He once recalled that Ray smacked Al's younger brother, I guess that would be Billy Wayne, in the head with a frying pan.
Ouch.
And this is old school. This is probably a cast iron fucking frying pan. Because the younger kid was scraping the last little bit of oatmeal out of his bowl with a spoon, and Ray didn't like the noise. He, rather than take the bowl away or say, can you please stop doing that, or just, I don't know, ride it out for 10 seconds until he's done eating his fucking oatmeal, he smacks him in the head with a fucking frying pan like a psychopath, which sounds insane.
Like my childhood.
That's insane.
That sounds terrible.
That sounds. How many frying pans?
I mean,
that's a little. That's what I mean. Let's not go crazy with the. We had shit, but no one just without warning hit me in the head with a cast iron frying pan.
I was hit with some shit though.
So was I. My grandmother's from Italy. What do you expect? But. Not a cast iron frying pan. Nothing that's a murder weapon. That's what I'm saying. Nothing that's a potentially deadly weapon. No one tried to end my young life.
In an area of your body that could potentially fucking end your days.
Yeah, very easily getting hit with that, especially a child. And they're poor as fuck, too, which doesn't help either. So he's beating the shit out of her, beating the shit out of the kids. They're poor. Faye had a job for years at a local glove-making factory. It was piecework, meaning she got paid per piece she made, not even per hour, so she could come home and make way less than even minimum wage or anything like that. She was known as just being very dour, never smiling, as I don't blame her. She grew up in a dirt floor cabin, and she's been dealing with this asshole intermittently beating the shit out of her and going to jail for things for the last fucking 40 years.
And she's over there sewing gloves together going, I wish he'd put these on before he hit me, make it a little more pillowy.
Oh, come on now, just a little softer. And on top of that, she's taking shifts at the Holiday Inn at night to fucking, clean rooms. Good Lord. It's a terrible life. And she's known as an exceptionally hard worker, never caused any problems. The whole deal, it was the Midwest Quality Gloves Corporation. She worked there from 1966 basically through 1988. Okay. So she worked there for 20-something years. Yeah. She started cleaning rooms at the Holiday Inn and then ended up being the front desk person at the Holiday Inn Motel there. Okay. And she also was the owner of the hotel's babysitter and all that sort of shit.
Working her way up.
She'll do anything for money. She works hard, and if she doesn't come home with money, who knows what Ray's going to do.
No doubt.
Do to her. The neighbors did not like Ray. They viewed him as, over time here, as a bitter old man, and they thought that he abused the family. They were like, he seems like an old abusive asshole. Nobody was surprised when they heard about that later on, that he was super abusive. So she's working in all these factories and as a maid. At one point, she is asked why she puts up with this. Like, why don't you get a divorce, or why are you putting up with him cattle scamming and all this, and you have to work 2 jobs to make ends meet? And she said, quote, because he was my husband. I was taught from childhood that when you married someone, you stayed with them. The husband was the boss. Ray was always the boss. Good luck trying that shit. Wow. Fuck, man. That's some dirt floor living mentality there.
Bit much.
Wow, that's amazing.
How do you get that brainwashed, though? You know what I mean?
That's brainwashed. That's really years of abuse.
Yeah.
And that's how she was raised.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. She was born in like 1920. Yeah. So, I mean, she's raised in a way that,
our society enabled that behavior.
And that was considered being that's how you would raise your daughter. Right. So she'd go out and get a husband and work and have kids, and then he wouldn't, leave her or whatever. That was like, it's so weird the way things were set up back then. So everybody needed also, Faye would help on the farm.
Sure.
That's the other thing too. She's working 2 jobs. They had way more work than they could even do, which is insane.
She's sewing gloves together, cleaning shitters, and then going out to till the fields.
Oh no, not then going out to till the fields. Try before she goes
my God.
to build gloves and shitters. She would wake up super early in the morning so she could go muck out the cattle stalls. The family though was so poor that when she did this, she had to do it barefoot because the only shoes she had were the shoes she had to wear to work, and you can't wear your muckraking shoes to the hotel and sit at the front desk smelling like cattle shit.
Well, you're walking around in cold shit.
So, yeah, she, no matter what the temperature, she would have to be, she'd be barefoot mucking. Get her a cheap pair of shoes, Ray. When you're stealing cattle and scamming cattle, have one of these vagrants stop by Walmart and write a check for a couple pairs of shitty boots so this lady can not fucking be barefoot out there. That's the kind of asshole this is. That wasn't a priority. That wasn't a priority.
Ray, and do it yourself.
No. That's Faye's job.
Yeah.
Don't you understand? Ray's got scamming to do here. So that's just nuts, man. That's depressing. Ray had no wonder why she didn't smile very much. You know what I mean? And then she needed to, she needed to keep the shoes clean. Yeah. So, man, it's terrible, man. She's worried about your shoes like that.
What a fact.
That's so poor and sad, you know? I mean, I don't know. So anyway, once the Copeland children left the farm, once they got too old, then he needed people to help.
Yeah.
That's when he started getting vagrants. That's when he said, hey, I can not go to jail for this cattle thing and get them. That's where it's there.
There you go.
As he's getting older, too, he's losing his hearing. He's not a good businessman anyway, obviously, or he wouldn't have been arrested so many times. He's also illiterate. Ray, which doesn't shock, he dropped out in the 4th grade and was a hog thief. I mean, there were not a lot of need for a great literary ability and oratory skills from your own writings. You know what I mean? You're not writing a speech and then delivering it.
Not a guy writing dissertations.
Not much, no.
I don't picture him being part of the Toastmasters.
Probably not. Probably not. He couldn't read or write. Which made it difficult to, do the business shit for him. He needed someone to help out with chores. He needed business help. He needed all these people. Like we said, he would go, this is when he found the homeless people, the missions, the drifters, all that sort of thing. And he liked having people with records. Now, by the 80s, it looked like Ray had calmed down. He hadn't gone to jail in 20 years.
Yeah.
Last time he was arrested was in the 60s. So, and he'd never been arrested for a violent crime. So, since he's come to town, basically, he's just been the weird old farmer.
Sure.
But he hasn't done anything to raise suspicions from the cops. That's why when McCormick is saying there's skulls, they're like, what the that's the old couple that's lived there for 20 fucking years. He's an old dick and he beats up his wife, and she's kind of a dour lady who mucks shit with no shoes on, but they're not fucking killing people. They're just cattle hustlers.
Right.
This is, come on.
Cattle rustlers, James.
No. That would be cattle rustling would be in the 1800s. Yeah. If you do it in the 80s, it's cattle hustling. That's the thing. Because he's running a hustle. He's not running a rustle.
I guess you get a point. It's just hilarious.
I feel like a rustle is you take the cattle from where they are and you're like, come on, guys, come on. And you push them toward where they need to go. Do you steal them on foot? Whereas I feel like a hustle is you get a guy to give you his cattle on, with your words and with your actions and with your bad checks.
It's hysterical.
This whole thing is fucked up as shit, isn't it? How weird is this that this is a cattle hustling? You didn't expect that in this episode. Wait till you hear what happens next. This is when it gets crazy here. So one of the problems here is all these people they were looking for, they notice it all comes together because McCormick's talking about these bones, and then they start saying, everybody we look for on that farm is gone. Yeah. And then Ray has the same story of why they're gone.
Yeah.
We really need to look into this. They get another tip. They get a tip here, and they at one point, and they end up searching a secondary location, which is another little barn that's kind of off his property. They end up searching that. They find a barn where Copeland would work, moving around large bales of hay.
Sure.
And they find in the back corner of the barn, underneath all sorts of big bales of hay, they move all of this. They find a shallow grave. In it, they find 3 bodies. 3 men buried head to toe.
Sweet.
So they're stacked, militaries execute people and bury them. So they're laid head to toe. They say that the cops figure they've been in the grave for about 2 to 3 years.
Whoa.
They're completely unrecognizable due to the decomposition. They were wrapped in blankets. So that's 3 blankets they've wrapped in 3 bodies in blankets. That's on purpose.
Yeah.
I don't think they got chilly, snuggled, and then fell in a hole and died together. Like, I don't think that happened. Like,
now they have a fucking serial killer for sure.
They have something happening here. So they have 3 separate bodies here. That's a bad thing. They are identified as 21-year-old Paul Jason Cowart, who is from Dardanelle, Arkansas. Also 27-year-old John Wayne Freeman, which sounds like a made-up, it sounds like a wrestling name from the 80s, a guy that would come with a big giant flag. It's John Wayne Freeman.
Right.
And he comes out like Hacksaw Jim Duggan with a big flag. That's what I feel like that is.
And you pronounce the man part at the end.
Free man.
Right.
Free man. And then 27-year-old Jimmy Dale Harvey from Springfield, Missouri.
Yeah.
Those are the 3 people that they found. They decomposed a lot to be unrecognizable, but not down to skeletal remains because of the way they were wrapped in the blankets and in damp soil.
Sure.
They were kept from decomposing that much. There was clay is what they were buried in, so that kind of preserved them. The skin of the bodies had dried out and shriveled like a mummy.
Oh boy!
So that's what they looked like. They were like dehydrated, like a fruit that
This is so scary to look at.
You didn't want to have to put in the fridge anymore. Like, that's fucking frightening. Shrunken heads. They'd all been killed by single gunshot wounds to the head, but there was no evidence linking Ray or anybody else to the crimes at that point because it wasn't on his property. It was off his property. Now, later on, a few days later, in another barn on that same property, police take tons more bales of hay out of a barn.
Sure.
They're just pulling bales of hay out of every barn, looking under the ground now, with good reason. Yeah. They look under a floorboard and they find another person.
Okay.
It's Wayne Warner, another man who had worked on the Copeland farm. All 4 of these men so far have known to have been worked on the Copeland farm. Matter of fact, they're all wanted in check frauds connected to Ray Copeland.
Wow.
All 4 of these guys. 6 weeks later, in a well nearby, all the way down in a well, they find another body. This body is a little easier to identify because he's got a giant belt buckle that says Dennis across the front. So they assume this is Dennis Murphy.
Got it.
That they've been looking for a while now. So this is all coming together here. Very much so. They find all these men. So they re-interview they re-interview Jack McCormick.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, well,
tell us some more.
Tell us more here. This time he was more confident in the memories. He told them about the whole deal.
We've retired those dogs that we had before, so we need to talk to you.
Listen,
they didn't find shit, and there was 5 bodies out there.
You should have a little confidence now, I think now. That's the whole deal here. So McCormick says, well, I told you fucking people. He said I was scared because I saw skulls and bones and shit. I figured he'd had no problem killing people. Police searched the Copeland house. They find a .22 rifle that matches and everything that matches right up to all of these men's bullets that were found in their skulls because they're 22s and they just bounced around in there. So
what a shot he is that he knows just one does it.
Oh, run to the head, I guess. Yeah. Well, Christ, he's probably, how many animals has he put down and how many, he knows where to put a 22. Yeah. He's like, I'm telling you, this is a mob story.
No doubt.
Except with cattle.
Yeah.
He's like a Colombian drug dealer with a coal cartel, except it's just him and the coke is cattle. Right. It's so fucking weird. They also find an assortment of men's clothing, none of which belong to Ray, which, they have vagrants in and out, so that's nothing much. They found several pairs of shoes, men's shoes in a range of sizes, none of which fit Ray or their sons. So who knows? They also found a bunch of empty suitcases with just nothing in them from different people. The worst thing they found, though, well, they're not the worst. There's 2 worse things. Okay. First of all, they found a quilt. Mm-hmm. Which sounds nice. Yeah. Ray knitted Faye knitted a quilt. Isn't that nice? Problem is the quilt was made from pieces of clothing from the dead men.
Wow.
So that's kind of not terrific.
Is that celebrating? What is that?
I think that's your trophy. Right there.
That's your ear necklace.
That is like an 1800s farm grandma way that you would keep a serial killer trophy. Well, I'm just, it gets chilly at night, so I'm going to make me a quilt. That's the equivalent of giving your girlfriend a pair of earrings that you took off a woman you killed. You know what I mean? Like your weird thing. I'm going to make me a quilt.
Nuts.
And then she puts it over a little legs at night when she watches TV. I feel like that's what it is. So
I have a quilt that's made of my kid's onesies from his first year of life.
Yeah, this is a little different.
This is a smidge darker.
Slightly different,
Yeah.
but that's not the most damning thing, and especially for Faye, because that's pretty damning for Faye.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
She participated now.
this is worse, I would say. Hidden in a camera case is a list of names. This was a list of men that had worked for Ray in the past, who have been known to work for him, all of these men. Next to 4 of the names, they were X'd out.
Okay.
And these happened to be 4 of the dead men that were found on this property.
Not good.
So 4 of these people, by the way, who do you think wrote that list? Ray's illiterate. He doesn't know how to write shit.
He's not writing shit.
It's written in kind of an old farm lady's handwriting. It's Faye writing this list. This is in Faye's handwriting. So Faye obviously knows something if she's writing these men's name down and Xing them out as they're murdered.
Right.
So Faye, it's kind of difficult for her to now say that it's she's not involved in this or all. Didn't know.
Right.
Yeah, I'm just a battered woman. I didn't know nothing. Well, it's like, you probably are a battered woman. You're probably forced to do it, but you were still participating, and you could have got him locked up forever if you really wanted to. But I don't know, scared, I get that. Even the McCormick guy was scared to go to the farm with the police.
Right.
He was with a team of sheriffs, and he was scared to go there.
And this is a lady.
40 sheriffs while Ray was in jail for fraud, and he was scared. So yeah, it's fucked up, man. It was hard to find out who a lot of these guys were, because a lot of them, they were drifters. They didn't have dental records that were from before they were kids. One guy had a really weird tooth pattern apparently that was easily matched.
Okay.
And he grew up kind of in the same sort of area, the guy from Springfield, Missouri. So they were able to track him down rather quickly.
All the kids made fun of me when I was a kid, but they found my body.
Now they found my body buried in a shallow clay grave under some hay. And
thank God for these shitty teeth.
Who wins now?
Right.
Wayne.
That's
who wins.
Good old Snaggle Wayne.
John Wayne Freeman. That's right. Because I'm a free man.
Right.
Then he blasts Leonard Skinner and peels out in his 1979 Camaro.
Right.
So they talk about how inside they could tell that that the gunshots were fired from a close distance. The coroner said, quote, "If the shot is fired from a close range, the inside of the skull tends to break or flake away, and there's more small fractures and damage done to the skull altogether." Which makes sense. Obviously, it's just a little more of a blast there. They found the bullet fragments. Everything was conclusively determined to come from only one gun, and that is Ray's .22 caliber rifle that he just decided to go put back in his bedroom, and everything was fine. Like I said, the quilt, man, Jesus Christ, that quilt is weird, and the list is disturbing.
Yeah.
Like, they're both creepy as fuck here. At this point, they arrest Ray for 5 murders. They arrest him for murders. They also arrest Faye for the murders.
Absolutely.
Because of the handwriting, mainly. They have a quote here because the town, this huge town, you know, people are a little surprised. This doesn't happen often. So here's a quote from a guy named Joe Adams, this is how they attribute him in the newspaper: "The owner of an isolated hay barn." So that's his
claim to fame.
That's him.
Yeah.
He's the isolate. Wow.
That's his business card.
Joe said, quote, "We really didn't know them that well, you know? I mean, we knew them, but we really didn't talk to them a lot or pry into what they did or didn't do or things like that." In other words, they had my philosophy of neighboring. My philosophy for everyone out there, and I suggest you do this: don't even wave at your neighbors. Don't talk to them. If they come out, avert your gaze. Don't look at them, because guess what happens? When they go on a killing spree, the cops are going to come knock on your door, and they're going to say, "What do you know about them?" And you go, "Not a fucking thing." And you slam the door, and your involvement in the whole thing is over with. You don't have to go to court. You don't have to talk to anybody. You're fucking done. If you hung out in the front yard with that guy for 5 minutes, you're going to spend the next 6 months of your life dealing with the ramifications of him murdering a bunch of people.
Not just that.
Don't talk to anyone you don't have to talk to.
You're friends with your neighbor and they go missing.
That.
It's always the people that are closest. They got a lot of questions.
Never even talk to him. Did he have brown hair? Beats the shit out of me. Slam. Done. Fuck out of here. This guy's like, we really didn't pry or know who they killed or didn't kill. You know how it goes.
I don't even know who they didn't kill. Don't ask me who they killed.
I'm sure of that. My wife, she ain't dead, but honestly, anybody, the Kennedy assassination, I can't put it past him. Could have been. I don't know the man that well. Like I said, we really didn't know them that well. You know, that was my quote. Did you read it?
We don't know what they did do or didn't
do. We don't know nothing. An inventory of Faye's purse when she was.
Quote.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
They did an inventory of Faye's purse when she's arrested, and they found a signed blank check from McCormick in there, and pages and a signed bank starter check also. So this is all very, very incriminating here. They also discovered jail personnel while they're in jail, Ray and Faye. Numerous notes sent by Faye to Ray suggesting that she had knowledge of something incriminating might turn up from searches on the property and shit like that. Trying to kind of code it a little bit, but they're not really the brightest people in the world. Right. They don't code things. They end up dismissing the fraud charges against Ray. Okay. Like, let's concentrate on 5 murders.
This will only get him 90 days anyway from the past experiences, or 9 months.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the district attorneys said, quote, many officers felt convinced that Faye Copeland had a direct role in the killings, which I would say so. Mm-hmm. And Jack McCormick said that she was involved in the murders also, that she knew what was going on. Yeah. There's also evidence that she was at the house when one of the victims was shot inside the Copeland house, that she was home at the time. There's evidence of that. They found evidence of a man being shot. They found blood stains and the whole deal. Because they went over this, after that, they went in the house and were like, let's look for everything, luminol, everything. Let's do this shit.
Everything looked to have been cleaned, like a hotel waitress or maid would do.
There was a strip of paper over the toilet bowl, so I thought that was a dead giveaway.
Toilet paper was folded into a triangle.
I don't know why. It just made it look like someone else didn't just tear that apart with their shit-stained hands. That's why. Jesus Christ. So Faye says she didn't know a goddamn thing. Right. She says, I knew about the other shit he did, but I didn't know about, that he's been murdering people, or that, I just know about the cattle fraud scheme. And he said that they thought they were just in the cattle fraud scheme game with him here. Ray told her all the time that these guys had just run away when he would fire them and they'd take off. Yeah. She said she had no reason to doubt her husband's story. They were vagrants and whatever. She also said that Ray had physically and emotionally abused her for their entire marriage, and so she wasn't about to push him for details. Was her thing, which again makes sense. All of this would make perfect sense if everything wasn't written in her handwriting with X's next to the names. That is so incriminating. Even the quilt, you can say, I found some jeans on the side of the farm road here, and if you cut them up, make a quilt out of them. That's weird, but she's not going to go, you sure you didn't kill a drifter and then take his clothes? And like that I get, but the names, I don't think so, because that's the only differentiation between those people and the other people on the list were that those were dead people and the other people weren't. For certain. So that's a problem here. That's a problem here. Also, with all these notes going back and forth, they get a real good handwriting sample from Faye to conclusively match her to that list. Oh, no. And also, it was kind of on her person, so that's the other thing. The police said, Faye, you're fucked. And she said, no, I'm good. She said, I don't think so. I didn't do nothing. I didn't know about nothing. Right. They're not gonna do nothing to me. I'm a nice old farm lady. And they said, oh, yeah, we're looking for the death penalty for both of you cocksuckers. Oh, my God. So they're going to execute 2 fucking 80-year-old people is what they're trying to do now, which is super. When have you ever heard of a case when an elderly married couple is about to be executed together? Never. Or they're trying. This is the weirdest fucking case ever. That's why we had to do this case. It's so different. It's insanity. So they end up only charged with 4 of the deaths instead of the 5th. There was some weird thing of something couldn't be conclusive. There was an evidence chain of it. They said, let's not muddy the waters. Yeah, you're dead to rights on 4.
These are slam dunks. Let's just go forward.
Let's not fuck around and have them muddy everything up here. So November 1990 is Faye's trial. She just claims Ray killed everyone. She didn't know a goddamn thing about it. She wasn't involved at all. The court rejects an offer of proof during the guilt phase, during the regular trial. They offer the defense wants the testimony of a psychologist, a Marilyn Hutchinson, to say that the defendant here, Faye in this case, was suffering from battered wife syndrome or battered spouse syndrome at the time of the murders. The judge will not allow this defense. for some reason. Judge will not allow that defense. They do not allow this psychologist to testify at all. She's allowed to. She claims that she had no involvement through the whole case. She said that she was an abused wife. She said she put her head down and told and did what she was supposed to do, but they didn't allow it as like her primary defense, which is a certain thing. She said that she carried bruises and broken bones for her whole life from this whole thing. She spent basically her whole life doing everything to avoid Ray's wrath. She said that her greatest crime was not asking questions. The prosecutor disagreed. The prosecutor makes a big speech about the X's on the notes, and they're saying, he says, quote, "Do you know what I think, folks? I think X means they're dead. I think X marks the spot."
Oh my goodness.
That's a pretty cementing thing to the jury.
Yeah.
There ends up being things in appeal over that statement, by the way. Of course. They're saying that's too much, because it was just like
vicious.
Yeah, they asked, he didn't do like in closing arguments say that. That's fine if you want to say that. He did it like while someone was testifying, he like did a turn to the jury and went, "I think X marks the spot. I think X means they're dead." That's just a statement of what you believe to be fact. That's not a question or an answer.
That's awesome.
Anything like that. It's not part of the conversation. They also have statements of uncharged crimes, because there's more people that are gone.
There's missing people everywhere.
There's missing people.
Yeah.
Like McCormick says that there was a guy named Transient, as he calls it, named RC. He saw him leave the Springfield mission with Ray, and then he said RC was never seen again. They said there was another one here, Paul Cowart, or that was one of the ones that was found. But there was another guy who was gone and never seen again, they didn't know his name. So this is the tip of the iceberg, is what they're saying. This was his one spot.
Understood.
This was his mid-'80s burial ground, basically, is where they found. Who knows what, how much is out there.
Right.
Now, during the guilt phase, the prosecutor really throws down some stank language here on her. He says, he makes her sound like she is Ted Bundy here. He says, quote, this is his closing, "There has never been a case in the history of our state that is stronger for first-degree murder as far as deliberation. Never before in the modern history of our state of Missouri have we had such a vile, horrible chain of crimes. There has never, ever, ever been a more complete and utter disregard for the sanctity of human life as in this case of Faye Copeland." Then later on, he says that he had been watching TV last night and watching talks all about gang murders and street gangs in Los Angeles. This was around the time of the riots and all that sort of thing. He says, quote, "It's the same thing right here in our backyards." He compared innocent, blameless victims being murdered for profit, completely innocent persons being murdered because of their potential witness capabilities, which technically is true.
Yeah.
But then the jury looks over and sees an 80-year-old lady sitting there with like an abused 80-year-old woman,
and she throws up West Side.
That's what I mean. She's like making fucking blood, spelling blood out with her fucking hands, and they're like, "She's a blood, really?" She's wearing a blue dress.
She smiles and she's got a grill in.
Oh, huge, big time. So they end up later on saying that these are comments were in proper comparison and appeal and all that sort of thing.
It's a bit outlandish.
The jury takes 2.5 hours only before they convict Faye.
Wow.
That note was too much. They saw that and they went, "That's some hard, real evidence.
Yeah.
That is hard for me to put in my back pocket."
Yeah.
So they don't do that. She's charged with all these murders. She goes down. Now, Ray at this point is undergoing mental tests, and he's scheduled to go on trial. That's why his trial's later. They were trying to basically get Faye at any point in the trial to go, "Never mind, I'll turn on Ray and say everything," and she never did. She was just like, "I didn't do nothing."
It's a hell of a wife.
She said it's all Ray, it's all Ray, it's all Ray, but she never was like, "I'll plead." She never offered a plea.
Yeah.
She would just say, "I didn't have nothing to do with it." Yeah. If they offered her maybe immunity, she would have done that, but she was helping kill these people. You're not going to offer her immunity. So it's this sort of thing here. And they also said, like, a couple of them, in a couple of the cases, he would have needed help, and they think that she helped him to, like, actually physically remove bodies and that sort of shit. Like,
muck the farm.
That's her. She was doing a different version of mucking. So people, when they read the verdict, she was sobbing, and she said out loud, quote, "I never done nothing," which is very sad. The assistant attorney general here said, quote, "The families of the victims and the citizens of our state have received partial vindication over this." So during the penalty phase, now the defense calls in the psychologist saying that she was a battered spouse and all that sort of thing. This was evidence offered in mitigation of the punishment. The state also called people saying she somehow wasn't a battered spouse. Right. I think it's pretty safe to say she was a battered spouse. Yeah, I would go ahead and...
She got the shit beat out of her, but she also made some...
But she also did this. Right. That's what I mean. You can be... They're not mutually exclusive.
Yeah.
You can be a battered spouse and help with murder.
And still participate.
And still, not do the right thing here. So, yeah, it was all the jurors afterwards said it was the handwriting of the note. They said that's cold-blooded. She was making a list and fucking checking it twice. Like, this is... Thanks, Mrs. Claus. She receives the death sentence. You, ma'am, may fuck off, I guess. Kinda? An old lady? That's so weird, isn't it? I mean, Jesus Christ, man. She receives the death sentence. Wow. I don't even know what the fuck to say about that.
Good grief.
She also is sentenced to life in prison without parole for the 5th murder conviction. That's just in case that gets overturned.
Yeah.
You still got a 5th one there. Now, after the conviction, the sheriff asked Ray what he thought about his wife getting the death penalty. His answer was, quote, "Well, those things happen to some people, you know."
What?
That was his quote. Not like, "Oh, no," or blah, blah, blah. He goes, "Well, that happens to some people. Not to me, hopefully, though."
Ray, that's your wife, man.
Ray's a cold motherfucker here. He's super cold here. When this happens, apparently the Copeland's children, Billy Ray and Bobby Jean and Peggy Sue and Betty Ray and all these fucking Alvia. Apparently their children are now harassed at school. People call up their house and leave like fucking messages about them, calling their parents murderers. There is a country song called "Digging Up Bones," apparently, where they leave that on their answering machine.
Jesus.
That's
a Randy Travis song.
There you go. I didn't know that, but thank you for the fill. And there's people going, Randy Travis out there. I know it. So they're
it's about a breakup, though. It's not close to this.
It's close. They saw the title and they were like, that sounds like that's right.
Just loop it where he says
that's what he did. They would play that on the answering machine.
Just loop that shit.
I don't think they would play the verse where he's talking about whatever the fuck he's talking about. That doesn't have to do with that.
Empty house, looking at pictures of her, digging up bones.
Whatever, being boring. So apparently the grandchildren were teased at school and taunted. It's just become horrible. Even Al, and basically they said their families are ostracized from the communities around there for this.
Your grandparents are monsters.
A lot of public attention over this too in a small community here. March 1991, Ray goes on trial for all 5 murders. There's no questioning his guilt. He's obviously fucking guilty. Everything that happened there's irrefutable evidence on this here. It was only Ray's gun. He's the one on the property, note, the thing. They convicted Faye. The whole
wife
thing.
Is wrapped up.
You're fucked.
You're for sure going.
You're going down here. He's found guilty on all 5 counts of murder and all the other related charges that go along with that. He is convicted. After the conviction, they asked him what his thoughts were on it, and he said, "I'm okay." So that's interesting.
What?
I'm okay. He's good.
Sometimes things happen like that to people.
Things happen to some people. I guess me. So let's find out.
I'm good.
Sentencing for Ray. This goes pretty easy. The jury comes back extremely quick and recommends you, sir, may fuck off. Death sentence for Ray.
Wow.
Which, I mean, if anybody deserves it, he probably does. But he's like 90.
It doesn't matter.
Just push him over.
Right.
You know? That's what we've said. Just kind of boo.
Yeah.
Just jump out at him. Ha! You know? It's his own children celebrated his death sentence.
Wow.
His own children. They said it was justice served for the horrible way he treated everyone around him and for the horrible acts he committed simply to make extra money without having to do extra work. That's his daughter said that about him. Wow. Jesus Christ. Now, 1993, Ray is 78 years old. He's at the Potosi Correctional Center awaiting execution here. He dies.
Of course.
So
that's what happens in prison.
He comes in, just drops dead. He's 78, drops dead, natural causes.
That quick.
Just dead. That's it. Goes
sometimes
in there.
Things like
Didn't
that
even have to do the time. Just sometimes they happen to some people. 1995, a petition with 3,000 signatures goes to the governor stating that Faye Copeland would not be a threat to society if she's released, which I don't think Faye is going to go out and hunt people down to murder. I feel like unless Ray is forcing her to do things, I feel like she's going to go watch fucking Wheel of Fortune at night and play bingo or
3,000 people. That's like 30 towns.
That's what I mean. That's like half, a lot. The county, I think, has 6,000 people in it. So, I mean, that's half the county they got to do that. 1999, there's another petition claiming that Copeland had no problems in prison. She's old and she should be released and brought home. There's a big petition for that. There's a hearing on this. Her conviction is upheld, but her death sentence is vacated. So they're not going to execute an 85-year-old woman.
So they gave her life.
She was the oldest woman on death row in America, which probably in the world. I don't think in any other fucking society you'd put an 85-year-old woman on the fucking death row. Even in China where they kill everybody, I feel like if you're elderly, they're like, have some respect. We're not going to kill an old woman.
I think the only place that would probably do this is Russia or North Korea.
Oh yeah, they'll kill you in a second. But they're not even like that's like they're a fucking disaster.
Right,
that's
they're fairly civilized.
That's North Korea especially. We don't even, and I feel bad for those people too. Anyway, let's move on. All right, so this is depressing enough. Missouri is depressing enough without getting into fucking
Missouri's not in Russia
Chechnya and fucking Pyongyang here. So anyway, the prosecutor's just arguing against this still. He still wants her to be put on death row or at least still in prison forever. Her sentence is commuted to life in prison. August of 2002, Faye has a stroke. Leaves her paralyzed on her left side and unable to speak.
Good Christ.
A couple of weeks after this, she is paroled to a nursing home in her hometown because she's paralyzed and fucking 85 years old.
And she's going to die.
Probably not a threat to anybody at this point in time. December 30, plus that also takes her off the state tab at that point. December 31st, 2003, New Year's Eve, Faye dies at the Morningside Center Nursing Home from natural causes. She's 82 years old. In the comment section, this is when it gets fun about this article. Okay, there's an article about her death, and let's start the fireworks.
I can't wait.
This is in 2004. This is Heather Copeland as the writer of this first one, who is family. She says, quote, this is all caps, by the way, "These people are my great-grandparents. I live in Chillicothe and just recently buried my grandmother who died of old age, diabetes, and pneumonia. I still love her, and to this day, I still believe that she had nothing to do with it." 6 exclamation points. Not one other bit of punctuation. Nothing. I'm sorry. There's a comma between old age and diabetes. There's a comma there. There was no other periods or commas or anything.
Just a
before
long
6.
run-on exclamation.
And all caps, which sounds insane right away. This is followed by Heather Harvey, who then says, "Ray and Faye Copeland murdered my uncle!" Exclamation point. Now we have a debate.
Yeah, all right.
Now it's a little badminton match. Now we're going back and forth.
We've got Internet Jerry Springer going on the comment section of a news article of a dead woman.
Of a dead elderly woman. So now Mike Oxbig jumps into the conversation with, quote, "Fuck you, bitch. They murdered..."
It's a good start.
This is now it's really, the decorum is wonderful here. "They murdered those people, and one of them being my uncle. She probably seduced some of them. There are probably more murders, so shut the fuck up." And probably is probably. It's not probably.
Of course. Andy called her a whore. Nice, dude.
No exclamation points here, though, I will say. There's commas and periods, and so I give him that.
But misspelled as fuck.
Of course. Oh, yeah, totally. Next is Tony with an I. She comes in and says, quote, "To Heather and Mike, I will be asking for both of you to be placed on a prayer list."
Oh, boy.
So she's going to settle everything here. Heather, I'm sure you loved your grandmother very much, but in reality, you're not doing her justice by denying her participation in the murders of so many people. You are harming and hurting yourself and your family and your friends and the living and dead victims of such a senseless crime. So just whatever.
I wish I was there when she read that.
Last sentence is, "Mike, for your own health and the health of your family and friends, please let the anger go."
Yeah.
So she's trying to smooth it over.
Yeah.
Next comes Brett. Brett says, Dear Heather, Mike, and Copeland in the Blood," which is a book that's coming out.
Got it.
Quote, "I'm writing a piece on the Copeland case for a magazine in the UK to tie in with a new comic book." the fuck kind of comic book is that? Would any of you like to have your say? Post here, or we can arrange something. Kind regards, Brent Callwood, or Brett Callwood. Okay. Next is, quote,
a superhero book of like wrangling cattle thieves.
Cattle thieves and murdering drifters. I don't understand
This is nuts.
Next is, hey, my uncle was Thomas Park. He was on the list that Faye wrote in her handwriting with the X by his name. He's never been heard from since February of 1989. Gee, wonder what happened to him. He was murdered by Ray and Faye Copeland. She is guilty. Face it. No way she didn't know what she was doing.
Yeah.
So this is one of the people who was on the list who actually disappeared and didn't have an X. And then here, the last one is Andrew. Quote, well, Faye did nothing because my parents and grandma was her counselor in prison, and she said that she did nothing, and if you disagree, I will kick your ass all over this town. And Ray, on the other hand, did kill them, but there is nothing you can do about it now, so leave it alone and let them rest in peace, assholes. Not one drop of punctuation in that entire fucking thing. Nothing.
What a dill hole.
I apologize. There's an ellipses after I will kick your ass all over this town.
Really?
So he breaks up his thoughts of fuck you and Ray's a murderer. That's good for him. So there's been a bunch of mediocre books based on this because it's an insane case, but I've never heard of this story, and it's absolutely batshit.
I can't get enough of the people around it.
That's what I mean. There's all sorts of cattle thievery. It's fucking nuts. That's the case. That is Mooresville, Missouri. That's the Copelands. That is how you, I don't know, scam cattle and murder drifters, I guess.
Holy shit.
That's that. If you like that story, please, the best thing for you to do is to go to iTunes and give us 5 stars there. That would be so helpful. Doesn't matter what you say. It's not for our ego. Just tell us your favorite cloud formations. We always like to hear that. That's always a nice one. If you want to do more, like this list of producers that we have coming up of our favorite goddamn people in the face of the earth that keep this show actually happening. You can do that very easily by going to patreon.com/crimeinsports, or head over to PayPal, where you can make a one-time donation using our email address, crimeinsports@gmail.com.
Yes.
If you want to get a hold of the show, again, no problem. We are at Murder Small on Twitter. We are facebook.com/smalltownpod.
On Instagram, we're Small Town Murder.
On Instagram, we're Small Town Murder. And if you want to email us, once again, crimeinsports@gmail.com.
Yes.
Can do that. And we have an amazing list of people. Please, Jimmy, tell us, because I want you to sing it from the rooftops, this list of people.
Terrific.
Hit us with it now, if you would.
First, we have Susan Deguia. I think that's how you pronounce it. Deguia. She donated on Patreon. Yes, absolutely. She donated on Patreon and PayPal.
Whoa. Thank you.
Ridiculous.
That's
Thank you
incredible.
so much, Susan, for all your help. Alex Marchi, who came to all those shows.
Oh, that's awesome.
The guy's
dude.
amazing.
Yeah.
He donated
3 shows
a nice amount.
to.
Thank you so much,
man.
Alex. That was
really
sweet of you.
Awesome.
Susan Randlett also gave us a nice donation. And, of course, Christiane Costaldi. Those are our executive producers this week who come through.
Thank you.
Goddamn, every week there's somebody that really saves our asses.
You I have no idea how much
bananas
it is. How
being podcasters, we still have people that legitimately save our ass every week.
You do.
Crazy.
That's the crazy part. Thank you. That's why we do this at the end, because we really just we're not just saying it to like, oh, we got to say the people's name. We really want to say thank you.
We really want you to know that
from
you
the
did
bottom
this
of our hearts.
Yeah.
We love this. Is our favorite part of the show.
Dana Bartram, Elizabeth Wolfinger, Katie Polis, Jenna Edwards, Chandel Whitney. She has a daughter over there in Korea serving the country.
That's right.
Thank you,
yeah,
Chandel.
good for you.
Stephen Scattergood, Natala Drew, Emmy Dumont, Cody Everett, Max Joshua, Ross Olson. Congratulations.
Hey,
she said yes.
She said yes.
Good
awesome.
for you, buddy.
Good for you.
Mackenzie Boland, Victoria Jackman, Jake LeBeer, Cappy with no last name, Sarah Willis, Mary Faust, Olivia Rowling, Jade Hughes, Gresham Fenton, David Wittes. Yes, Wittes. Mariella Rosas. She came to a show. Thank you, Mariella. She actually came to Sacramento, I believe. Under the Sea Fabrics. I'm not sure what it is, but find it and donate. Buy her shit.
Yeah, buy her waterproof fabric.
Whatever it
not
is.
waterproof, but it's called Under the Sea Fabric. We don't know. They might be waterproof fabrics. We have no idea,
it's
but probably
mermaid
not.
shit. I'm sure.
Yeah, buy mermaid clothes from her.
Do it.
Or whatever they
Gygax
sell.
fan? I forget what Gygax is. Damn it. It was pointed out to me what it was, and I have forgotten, but they donated again. So thank you. Stacy Rushworth, Ted Cyrus. Every week the guy comes through. Thank you, Todd. Thank you, Ted. Chelsea Girlyman or Girlyman, Girlman.
Whatever.
It might be Girlyman.
Hey,
it's
you
possible.
know what? Good for you. Thank you for. We love you. We don't care.
We appreciate you. Craig Ventura, Gretchen Oswald, Lily Hill, Kate Myers, Abigail Gonder, Tracy Tilley, Nina Tedeschi, Laura Kopp. She's the lawyer down in Texas that sent us shirts and such.
Oh yeah, thank you,
Laura. Jessica Valley, Jeffrey Geiler, Stacy Langto, Lank Lankto, Chris England, Sarah Fletcher, Bradley Kaus, Amber Wolf, Curtis Vacek. That might be an L.
Hey, there you go.
I think it's a C. I think I fucked
just
that
bad
up.
handwriting,
Probably.
not bad pronunciation.
Araya Strauss, Josh Jones, Jesse Hartman, Molly Glenn, Ian McKay, Cassandra Meyer, Stacy Ridgenbeek.
There we go.
Risenbeek? No. I don't. Andrea M. Schneider. Moving on. Bail. Sarah Toasty, Andrew Welmers, Richard DeGraw. Yes, DeGraw.
Yeah.
Karen Lemiasi.
Like
That's
Ted
it.
DiBiase?
Yes, I think it's Lamiasi.
By the way, Bruno Sammartino died today. There's nothing to do
right?
with this, but
82
fuck,
years
man.
old.
I
Poor
love
guy.
Bruno. He's from the same place my grandmother's from.
Is that right?
Move on.
That's fantastic. Kyle Juarez, Courtney Luthan Dongs. No, it's not Dongs.
Luthan Dongs.
Luthan Donges.
There you go.
That's it.
Don't call her Luthan Dongs.
It's not Dongs. There's an E in there. All right. Marianne Hender, James Acelia. He comes through every week also. Thanks, James.
Thank you.
Jordan Selmer, Emily Emily
Emily Shit.
No.
Thanks, Emily Shit. We appreciate everything you do.
You're fantastic,
All
Emily.
of your shit is highly appreciated. We'll just say that.
Shearhorst. That's it. Emily Shearhorst, Jackie Fiegel, Taylor Stapleton, Vanessa LaFoya, Sarah Gilbo, every goddamn week.
Thank you so much,
Sarah.
Sarah.
You're fantastic.
Seriously.
Sandy Marshall, True Crime Clothing. I don't know what that is. Go find them. Michelle Jolly, over in, I believe that's Australia. Paul Roost, who makes those fucking memes. The guy is fantastic. LK Bar on Nute.
Okay.
Shit. I believe it.
Hey.
Sarah Peterson.
I'll buy that.
Jacob Herbigust. No. Hebrecketsy.
What the fuck is going on?
I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. Tom Gallagher, Heather Chamness, Taryn Winnie, Rondell Merrill, Sarah LaPlante, Jennifer Ott, Jessica Hartke, Jason in New Mexico, Lori Murphy, Austin Sun, Mindy Beganat, Gail Nelson, and the last page. My fuck, this is amazing. You guys are fantastic.
Thank you so much. Seriously, guys, this is
fantastic.
Thank you.
Elaine Martin, Joe Bescombe, Tom Barry, Matthew Palke, Pauk. That's it.
Sure.
No, it's not. P. Daphne Cohen, Victoria. This one is a mother. Victoria Kivyatsky. No.
Victoria Cavatelli. Move on.
I think it's Kavyatsky. No.
No.
It's
Thank
KVA.
you.
It's KVIAT. KVO. No.
What?
It's a lot. I think it's Kavyatsky.
Okay.
I think so.
I'll buy that.
No,
you have confused me thoroughly.
Good.
Okay,
Bianca,
good. Now we're on the same page.
Bianca Elena, Rob Maggs, Miller Hines, The Curiosity Report. I think that's a podcast. I'm pretty sure of it. Megan Guza, Nate the Ape, Betty, Paul Saunders, Christine damn it. Christine
You're
Torrance.
on a roll there. You got like 3 right.
Adrian and Robert Castorina, TJ Shaw, Braylon Rogers, Lori with no last name, Jennifer Slack, Michael with no last name, Abby Sten, Chanel Renee Peguera. Yes. Chanel Renee Peguera.
Nailed it.
I think so. Stephanie Hudson, Jeanette Craig, Travis Wood, Kathleen Thill is sticking around. Thank you, Kat.
Thank
I appreciate
you, Kathleen.
it.
You're
She's
awesome.
From Sun City. She's wonderful.
That's so cool.
Brad Gillis, Josh Thurber, Patrick Hooten, Shauna Rogers, Anne-Marie Hoyt, Brianna Callanan, Jamie Collins, Alexandria Gonzalez, Kathy G1. I think that's right. I don't know.
Let's hope so.
Silk BH. I don't know. I don't know what that is. Or Silky BH. John Craven, Alexia Malloy, Tommy Craig, Gretchen Pisher.
Okay.
I think so.
Sure.
Connie and Sean Young, Katie Potter, Aaron Anderson, Lindsay Day, Craig McGeechan, Kat Rosenblatt, Aaron Anderson, I've said, Nathan Abbott, Dave Hartman, Chuck Brookman, The Awkward Human, John Curry, Joseph Stafford, and Jill Aspermonte.
Oh, that was nice. You closed strong, I think, on that one. Good job. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah.
Honestly,
that's real.
We can't do the goddamn show without you. Seriously, we really, really can't. That's
and if any of all of you came to live shows,
I don't even know what to say.
Thank you so much, you guys. And it was amazing to meet you.
Yeah, we can't name everybody obviously that comes to a live show, but it is terrific to meet you. Like Sacramento, I think 95% of the room stayed. They said 10 people left.
It sure felt
That's
like
it out of the entire room, out of 250 people, which was amazing. And we were so thrilled to do it. We hung out with you guys. We love it so much. We can't tell you how just humbled. That sounds stupid, but it's true. We don't understand why everybody's supporting us, and so that's what I mean. It's not like we're real. I'm humbled by being put on the Supreme Court. Like you did some good shit. Like we don't understand it still. No. So like we said 2 years ago, no one would scalp tickets to see anything we did. We couldn't get people to come for free for being put on a list to anything we ever did. So
seeing tickets go for 3 times their value on StubHub,
it's wild. Crazy. We're sorry you have to do that. We really are. So we don't want anybody to have to pay more, but we couldn't do 2 shows there scheduling wise with the theater. We wanted it to be in one nice show in a theater, and it's a big theater too. So we didn't know if we could sell any more than that. It's an experiment, and it's going pretty well. So get your tickets now. Do that, please.
See you tomorrow, Portland.
See you tomorrow, Portland. And what if one of these people, if they didn't get to see you at a live show, wanted to say hi to you in another way? How would they do that, Jimmy?
If you want to find me on social media, you can find me at Whisman Sucks on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat, or Jimmy Whisman on Facebook. I appreciate everything you guys say to me. Thanks for being around. It's good to have you guys along with us.
Definitely. You can reach me at Jimmy P is Funny on the regular sites there, or you can find me using my last name. You got to copy and spell it, or just copy and paste it. You're not going to spell it right.
Yeah.
Let's be honest here.
It's
just copy and paste it. Don't be a dick. You're going to look. I couldn't find you. That's because you didn't spell my name right. There's an I in there. Don't fuck with
He's
it.
There.
There's a guy with a YouTube video that explains the whole thing if you really want to try it. It's very entertaining. But other than that, that's about it for us this week. We're excited, and we can't wait to be back next week and each and every week. And until next week, it's been our pleasure.
Bye.